Hello. This is the 39th episode of the Funfiltered podcast.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Hello. I don't know, the Christmas bells.
All right.
And welcome to or back to the Funfiltered podcast. I am Sam, and I am joined, as ever by Jordan.
Hello.
Hi.
Ching, ching. Yeah, how do you do a Christmas bell? Sleigh bells, they've got like that ching, ching, ching,
Yeah.
ching, ching, ching. Yeah.
It just sounds vaguely racist.
Ching, ching, ching. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And we're off already.
Already.
This is our first episode without Eddie.
It is.
The first episode of the new and improved Funfiltered.
Well, okay.
You won't mind. You don't care.
It's not the first episode we've ever recorded without him, but it's the first knowing he'll never come back.
We'll never say never, but no. Yeah, that's definitely our...
Yeah.
It's been a turbulent old time for Funfiltered, isn't it?
It has.
Obviously, Eddie announced to us, kind of out of the blue, that he was going to have to step away from the podcast.
Yeah.
I am now working full-time nights in a supermarket, so I suddenly have absolutely no time whatsoever. I'm either working or asleep.
Yep.
Things haven't changed for you at all.
No, I am the inert constant.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You need that, though.
I suppose you do.
Yeah.
I suppose you do. But yeah, things are a little bit all over the place at the moment, but we're hoping to try and do something. Well,
it's the first sans Eddie, and like I said, it's the first time we recorded knowing he won't be coming back, so maybe our tone will be laden with that kind of ominousness. Yes. We're also recording a lot later than we usually do.
Yeah, it's the first time it's been dark while we're recording a podcast for quite a long time.
Yes, last year, I think.
Remember when we used to do these podcasts in the dark with the lights out?
Yeah, they were good. They were good.
Were they?
Yeah. They felt different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Maybe the nascency of it. Like we were on the first rung of a ladder.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, the very early podcasts when we were recording on a phone. It was just us sitting around the same table, but we usually recorded. We kind of made a day of it before and recorded in the evening.
Yes. Back when this was special.
Back when it felt special, not like a goddamn job. But yeah, and like for the Halloween episode and stuff, just for our own amusement, we turned the lights off. Yeah, lent it a frisson, I think, having the lights off.
Yeah.
But especially with a pansexual in the room. But,
anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, now we just, we clock in in the afternoon, we do it, and then you all go home.
Yeah.
That's sort of how we do it. But no, yeah, we're doing this at, what time is it now? Like 11 o'clock?
Pretty much, yeah.
If we sound a little bit more Radio 4,
a little bit more
midnight
like,
DJ.
Now this will happen.
Maybe that's good. Maybe that's the energy that we naturally,
I was going to say, we're hardly Radio 1.
Oh, no.
Which one's the energy? Which one's the energetic one?
Yeah, Radio 1, Heart, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whenever I do the Radio 1 thing on this podcast to introduce it or whatever, I get exhausted instantly. So I don't know how they do it. Are we midnight DJs? Because I don't think we're relaxing.
No.
So
we argue too much to be midnight DJs.
Maybe we're soporific in a way, but through being tedious, not by being soothing. So I don't know.
Yes.
What do you think, listeners? Where do we belong?
Maybe this will get you responding to us in the comments.
Will anyone ever post a comment? Will anyone ever do that?
I mean, like sheer odds, right? Sheer like persistence and perseverance and just the what's the percentage? What's the fraction of the chance of the universe existing? It's like
I can't remember the
0.00, like a billion.
It's infinitely.
Yeah, it's like a billion
tiny.
zeros.
Yeah,
0.1.
Yeah.
It's like if the universe can exist, surely someone will comment on our video someday. Or is that just asking for too much on top of an impossibility?
I think it's because any physicist will tell you that they have to account for the possibility that realistically anything can happen.
Yeah.
All of a sudden dragons might start existing.
Yes.
But
is there a point where it's like, well, anything can't happen on top of anything else?
Yeah.
Like only so many anythings can happen.
I suppose it would be the same odds as... So the odds of the existence beginning...
Yeah.
The odds of it all just stopping in the next second now... Those are the odds of someone commenting.
It would be funny if we just cut the podcast there. Like, that's the end of the video.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about on this?
Well, shall we do...
episode?
Actually, I was going to do the coming up.
Yeah.
But how about we record the coming up at the end of the podcast?
That sounds like a good idea.
And then put it earlier on. Because not only will it be better for us because we can do our usual rambly...
Yes.
Like, oh, maybe this will go somewhere.
We won't be breaking any promises.
Yeah, it'll be an accurate reflection because we'll already know what kind of tangents and bullshit we've talked about.
So the listeners are about to experience some kind of unknown time travel.
Yeah.
They're about to hear something we haven't recorded yet.
Yes. Right, now.
Now.
So coming up on today's episode...
A question about a dog.
We do a review of the new SpongeBob film and also Aunty Donna's Big Old House of Fun.
I talk about the League of Gentlemen and the censorship of the modern age.
I bring up I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here briefly.
We talk about the election a bit, the American one.
Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson come up. There is a sort of review, but not really, of Uncle Frank.
And then we review Fatman, the film, not the Jordan.
I knew you wouldn't fucking do that.
Who knows what we just said? Who knows?
So that's what's coming up.
That's what's coming up
on the podcast. Where did that phrase come from?
What, coming up?
Coming up.
What do you mean?
Because it's not like... Surely that implies that, like, the future is beneath us. Like, things are coming up to the present.
The future is beneath us. I think that's what every teenage suicide is. written in their journal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, surely it's like, okay, like, everything that's going to happen is, like, below us. Then it comes up to where we are. And then everything that has happened, like, keeps going up.
The present is terra firma.
Yeah.
And the future is
the present is
rising.
The present is ground zero. That's like ground level.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just above.
Coming up. I mean, either it's emerging subterranea.
Yeah.
Or it's approaching from the horizon.
Well, that's what it implies, right? That's the generally accepted narrative when it comes to time. Obviously, time travel media fucks with it a lot. But it's like, time is like a linear line.
Yes.
And we are traveling across. We are beads being thread across the latitude of time. That's what time travel is. Yeah,
so coming up, it's not really a description of what the thing is doing. It's a description of what we are doing in relation to it. We are approaching it, therefore it is coming up.
Right.
But again, anything that's in the future, because we are hurtling through time and space, we are approaching it. It's not approaching us.
Well, maybe it's a cultural thing. But like I said, when you're sort of moving across that lateral line that is time, you're moving from left to right. That's that's how most timelines are drawn, left to right.
Yeah.
So there's no up or down. There's only side to side.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time's a flat circle.
Okay.
That's True Detective, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. So, I don't know where the up comes into it.
Well, it's coming up, just colloquially. Don't lean too much on the upness of it. But coming up just means it's approaching.
But no, because, like, coming, that's fine.
Yeah.
Something is coming. It is, like...
So it should be coming at?
Coming at you? Yeah. Why up? Because if you're just like, if you're thinking like back to when that term was coined, just like, oh, maybe they're just describing physically what's happening.
Yes.
But it's not, the thing is not going up, it's getting bigger because it's approaching.
But by nature of perspective, it would be coming up.
Not really. Imagine if like look at that TV over in the corner of the room. Yeah. As we approach it, it doesn't ascend, it just gets bigger.
Depends on where your vantage point.
Well,
if we were smaller than the TV,
yeah,
it would get bigger the closer we got to it.
Yeah, it gets bigger, but that doesn't mean it's ascending, does it?
It would in your perspective, wouldn't it?
Well,
because when you're walking towards something, it gets higher in your field of vision.
But it also gets lower, right?
In what way?
Well, we're far enough away from the TV that we can see every...
Right, so if the thing is beneath your head height, then it's going to get smaller, I suppose.
Yes.
Or lower down.
But if your vantage point is like you are eye level with the center of the TV,
yes,
then the TV is going to ascend and descend and move outwards.
It's
in equal parts.
It's going to expand. Or, yeah.
So Like the up is not. There's no point. There's no point emphasizing the up because the up is just one facet.
You can't say coming out, can you?
No. Well, it's not doing that either.
Coming out. Well, it is.
It's coming towards.
It's out in every direction from your perspective.
Surely it'd just be coming towards us on today's show.
Or coming at you, I suppose.
Yeah, coming at you on today's show.
Well, you do get that as well. Coming at you.
Yeah, but that's seen as like a coming at you. Like it's someone trying
Cleopatra coming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone trying to be like cool and like, hip.
Yeah. But what are we going to talk about? What is coming up?
Well, we've already done
the coming up, but we don't actually know what's coming up.
Oh, right, okay. Do you have items?
Sort of.
Okay. Is there one that you want to start with?
I got a question then.
Okay.
So if you were walking in the street...
Okay.
And you encountered a dog...
Yes.
...who'd been hit by a truck.
Oh, dear.
Right? His guts are spilling out of its ripped stomach.
I see.
Okay?
Okay. Why ripped? Surely the truck would... Just flatten it.
No, it burst its stomach.
Right, okay.
So it's like ripped.
So what did this truck do to this dog?
Just ran over it.
Yeah.
I don't think a truck would flatten a dog.
Oh, it would flatten a bit. It'd be like Rango, wouldn't it? Where it's like... Remember?
I can't remember right now.
Oh, there's like a bit where like an armadillo was run over.
All right.
And just the middle of him with the tire has gone through.
Okay.
It's just completely flat.
Right. That is a cartoon.
It is a cartoon.
Yes. So that does happen.
Yeah.
But mostly I would say, right, it just kind of split something. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
It wouldn't flatten you out like a pancake.
Well, certain bits of you, yeah.
I always wonder, you see in films sometimes, like when someone's crushed beneath a shipping container.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see what happens when you lift it up.
Yeah.
Like what's left.
It would probably just be like this, like, red paste, right? This crimson paste.
It'd be bone, I wonder what it would actually look like.
Yeah, the bone is...
Yeah, would it be all crushed down? How bad would it be?
It must be.
Yeah.
Bones aren't that strong, surely.
No.
Yeah.
So, I want to see that.
Yeah.
But,
Listeners, if you've got any links for us, I don't know.
So if you saw a dog like that,
okay,
right, it's alive still.
Right.
Would you put it out of its misery?
Okay. What happened in your life recently that you came to this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. But I just thought, I think...
Are you testing to see if I haven't fallen prey to the cats?
The psychopath test.
That I'm not a cat person all of a sudden.
No, it's not that. I don't know. I think I must have seen something. I just wondered, would I do it?
I saw that exact scenario. I was like, I wonder if I would get involved.
Would I kill the dog? So that's the first question.
Okay.
Would you kill the dog?
I mean, it depends entirely on its state, doesn't it?
Oh, it's in a terrible state, George.
Well, I know. It probably, it's not doing great. But there's going to be there's probably a very thin line between there being no saving the dog and there might be a chance.
Oh, there's no saving this dog.
Okay,
that's clear.
Like if it just goes over the dog's back end or its back legs or something.
No, its stomach is ripped open.
Oh right, okay. Yeah, there's not much. There might not be much we can do for it.
No, it's palliative.
Yeah.
But so would you kill the dog?
Well, I don't want to say on this podcast, yes, I would kill a dog.
Okay.
But also I wouldn't...
you wouldn't not kill the dog?
I wouldn't want it to suffer.
So you would kill the dog?
What's the right answer here, Sam?
Well, I'm inferring, because you said that you actually wouldn't want it to suffer, and you just don't want to say that you kill a dog.
Yeah.
So I'm inferring that you would kill the dog.
Well, that's on you, I suppose.
Well, I kind of need your answer either way for the next question.
Okay, well, assume I've answered. What's the next question?
How would you kill it?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I was thinking that people are put out of its misery and they've always got a shotgun or something in on a farm.
Yeah.
How would you go about it if you just had your bare hands? What would you do to kill the dog? Would you Christopher Moltisanti it, or would you?
What did he? Oh, he sat on the dog. Did he?
Oh no, I wasn't thinking. I was thinking about how Tony kills Chris. He asphyxiates him on his own blood. Doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Would you do that?
Spoilers for The Sopranos.
Yeah, it's like 20 years. Or would you just punch its head in? Like the in-betweeners with the fish?
I mean, it's already suffering at this point. There's not much...
Yeah.
It couldn't be in much more pain, could it?
Okay.
If its stomach had been ripped open.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you do.
Punching the dog is an incredibly visceral image. But it would probably be hurting you more than the dog.
It'd be a nice distraction, if anything, for the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting punched in the face now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank God, I'm not feeling my guts anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling this person punching me in the face.
Yeah. Snap its neck, what would you do?
See, I wouldn't snap its neck because I'm always worried about that.
Doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, obviously in the film, everyone just knows how to snap necks, just that, and it's done.
I'm sure you do that with enough force. Oh, I don't know, actually. Sufficient force, I don't think technique matters much, right?
Okay.
So if you do just violently, as hard as you can, you probably are going to do terrible damage to somebody.
Yeah.
Not like in the films where it's just like a swift turn to the left and they're dead all of a sudden. But yeah, I would always freak out about getting it wrong. Like I would just hurt the dog and like expose a nerve or something.
Yeah, well, it's like its head is facing the wrong way, but it's still very much alive.
So what would you do? What would be your quick thing for getting rid of it?
I'm just thinking, what do I usually have at my disposal? Like, assuming I'm just out in town.
A lighter.
No, I don't anymore.
I don't
have matches, don't have lighters or anything like that. If I'm just out walking in town, my keys, I've got a wallet.
Yeah.
I've got my phone.
Yeah.
And like headphones.
Yeah.
And then my body. That's usually what I have.
Yeah, so you really... Either you use your key to shiv it to death. Yeah. So given the damage it's sustained, probably isn't going to do all that much.
No.
So yeah, shiving it with a key.
These tiny little puncture holes in the dog's neck.
Yeah. Or, I don't know, like show it an image on the phone that compels it to go towards the light quicker. I don't know, I would play a song, a nice song for it to hear as I killed it. You're talking with your bare hands. Right?
Yeah.
So
what's a good dog dying to song?
Well, there are songs about dogs who die. Aren't they?
Okay.
Old Chap.
Oh yeah.
You don't want that, really.
No, but I suppose the question that I should have asked is, maybe not that I should have asked, but songs that you would play as a person died. Are dogs worthy of those songs? Or do you reserve those songs for people dying?
What songs do you play when people die?
I don't know, just think of a film that's played a song as a person dies.
It's usually score, isn't it?
Yeah.
A song, I don't know. Who Let the Dogs Out by the Bar?
For people dying now. Not for the dog dying.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want a melancholy song as I died. I'd want something that was incongruous.
Okay.
You know?
Like triumphant or...
It's kind of like, oh, what? Interesting. What a bizarre choice.
Was it NWA?
Yeah.
Like one of their songs.
Yeah. So, how would you kill this dog?
It would probably have to be just with my body, right?
Sit on it.
Well, I wasn't implying that, Sam.
Well, what do you mean by your body, then?
Yeah, probably, like, strangle it, or...
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know. Maybe if I just sort of kick it with my foot, eventually the body will just break apart.
Just break apart.
And it'll just, like, die.
What about shoving your key through its eye?
No, that wouldn't kill it at all, would it?
I think it depends how long your key is, I suppose.
It was not very long. I'll show you my key now.
Okay.
Like, the longest key that I have is probably that key.
Like
that's not
it's
going...
a tiny car key.
That's not going through a dog's eye into its brain.
No.
That's just, like, damaging the eye.
It's just stabbing an eye.
Yeah, that's just, like, insult to injury.
What about through its ear? Would that be a quicker route?
Oh, it might be.
Yeah.
Because dogs have big ears as well, don't they?
Imagine the image of a dog that's dying and a compassionate crowd gathering around it.
Yeah.
And then a guy's very confidently leaning down, like stroking the dog, just shoving a key through its ear.
Yeah.
It's like, I got this, guys. I got this. Okay. That's it.
Just the idea as well that the crowd is just like, he's doing the right thing. It's just constantly stabbing his dog.
Okay. I think I've got the answer to my question.
Okay.
You've seen films that I haven't.
I have.
Do you want to review one of them?
Okay, I'll do that. One of the films that I saw that you haven't is SpongeBob.
Okay.
A Quest for Time.
How many SpongeBob films are there now?
It's not called A Quest for Time at all. What the fuck's it called?
The only one I know is I can't even remember what it's called. Squid Pants Out of Water. No, Sponge Out of Water.
Sponge Out of Water. Yeah. That was the last one. Yeah.
Okay.
Sponge Out of Life.
Sponge Out of Life. Does he die in the film?
No, it's Sponge on the Run. That's what it's called. Sponge on the Run.
Okay.
It's a bit like, because I think the original title for this film was "It's a Wonderful Sponge."
Right.
Which is not only a shit pun.
Yeah.
But it's not really reflective of the film.
It's a spongerful life.
It's a spongeful life.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult.
Yeah, but it's better than what but even those, even that's like Sponge on the Run, even that's not really, it's more appropriate, but it's not quite reflective of the content of the film. Spoilers, Patrick and SpongeBob get arrested in the film.
Right.
But they get arrested, they're held in prison, and then they go straight to trial. They're never on the run.
Okay. Right. So what's the... You might have to give me a bit of an education vis-a-vis SpongeBob.
Well, I don't know what the canon of SpongeBob is. I don't know whether it's a case of like everything is somewhat loosely connected, or if it's like most sitcoms where it's sort of... It's the same characters in the same locations, but everything kind of exists in a vacuum.
Okay.
Like episode to episode, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because there have been 3 SpongeBob films, but they're all like... The first one, I think, was its own thing. The second one was also its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, this film has no connection to the prior film.
Okay.
And the animation style is completely different.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem to be informed by anything that's happened.
Was the last film the one that was partly live action?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas this is completely sort of... It's a weird animation. It's sort of like a more cartoony Lego movie. Where it feels like they've tried to go for like a stop motion style animation, but it's very clearly animated.
Okay.
There's like the main villain of this film, I suppose. Yeah, he is the main villain, is King Neptune.
Right.
And he looks like an Aardman character.
Okay.
Just straight up looks like he's from an Aardman movie.
Yeah.
Whereas SpongeBob and Patrick, they're a little bit more stretchy and like out there in terms of their designs.
Okay. I was never a SpongeBob convert. I remember when... Like, I remember it starting, you know? I don't feel like... Obviously, I guess we were 7 or 8 maybe when it started.
Well, SpongeBob showed on Nickelodeon, didn't it? It's always been on Nickelodeon. And I didn't get Sky until I was in secondary school, I think. So I sort of missed SpongeBob by that time. All the kids knew SpongeBob.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember, you know, when I was a very young baby, Teletubbies preceded me. Mm-hmm. And then I remembered the invention of the tweenies. And thinking...
Oh, I don't even remember.
Yeah. I remember that... Oh, thanks. I remember...
well, that's the thing. Like, you're, like, what, 10 months? No, not 10 months. You're a few months older than me.
Yeah, like 9.
Yeah,
8, 9.
Yeah, but it's only months. It's not years.
Yeah,
so the fact that you remember it and I don't shows just how important those months were, I guess.
think they are, though, aren't they? Literally, like, when you're that age, it does make a difference. Like, I might remember some things that you wouldn't... because of the cognitive development sort of thing. But, I remember the tweenies... Well, okay, I remember the tweenies being on TV and thinking, that's new.
Okay.
And feeling like I was too old for it.
Right.
When it came on TV.
Okay.
SpongeBob, I remember, being about 7 or 8 when becoming aware of that. And I think all the kids liked it. I also felt I was too old for it. And then, as I got older, it became clear that SpongeBob was popular among adults, as well as children.
Hangover television, I think it's been described as. You watch it like the night after you've been drinking, or the night after you've sobered up from like weed or whatever. It's I just need something weird and sort of there, to sort of that I can just mong out to, and all of the energy is over there, so I don't have to have any energy.
Yes, I
think that's the appeal of SpongeBob.
It externalizes a come down.
Yes, kind of, yeah. It's always been very strange, SpongeBob. The one of the episodes that I remember is like I think it's the gorilla episode where they're being chased by a live action gorilla.
Okay. Through
SpongeBob. It does that a lot as well. It sort of breaks down, like there are like live action elements within the show, and there's also I knew the word until I needed to say it. There's a specific technique in animation where it's a Japanese word. Can't remember what it's called. But basically, animation will suddenly become a lot more detailed.
Right.
And a lot smoother.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
To emphasize certain aspects.
Like close-up of his eyes.
It's incredibly detailed.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. SpongeBob does that a lot as well. And also gross. It's kind of... There's a lot of gross-out humour in SpongeBob. I don't know if there is any more.
You sort of get it with memes, like stickman memes. And like the last panel will be like eyes that suddenly
like
detailed.
all of the wrinkles under his eyes. Yeah, it's that kind of... Yeah, SpongeBob in a way is kind of a progenitor to a lot of meme... There are loads of memes like circulating around the internet that are SpongeBob stills.
Yeah.
Yes. So the films... I think the first film... was created by the original creator, and then these second two films are not. They're sort of doing their own thing. But I think the second one was very well received. I liked the second one, Sponge Out of Water. I liked that, which is part of the reason why I watched this one.
Right.
Because I liked that one, and I thought, this will be another one.
Yes.
I could enjoy this. I don't know if I've just grown up too much in the past 5 years since the last film. It doesn't feel like it's doing that much different, but also I wasn't taken by it.
Okay.
Basically, the story is SpongeBob is SpongeBob. He's, living his life. He's being the not the sous chef, the fry cook at the Krabby Patty, and, everything's going well. And then his snail, Gary, gets kidnapped.
Right.
So he and Patrick go on a road trip to get his snail back. They meet Keanu Reeves.
Right.
Who's a tumbleweed.
Okay.
And then he sort of gets them to go on this spirit quest.
Right.
To which they sometimes obey him and sometimes they don't. Right. It's SpongeBob and Patrick, so they're idiots. And then eventually they end up at I forget the name of it, but it's basically this sort of Las Vegas setting where King Neptune has set up shop, and they realize that King Neptune has kidnapped Gary because the not the semen. I was going to say semen. the slime of a snail keeps him looking young.
Okay.
And Gary is the last snail in the land.
Right. Okay.
King Neptune is voiced by Matt Berry.
Ah, okay.
So as soon as I found that out, I was in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm completely with you. Because he was in the last film as well. He cameoed as Bubbles.
Right.
The cosmic dolphin.
Okay.
It's basically, there's this weird time travel segment in the middle of the film, which I don't think has any bearing on the plot of Sponge Out of Water. Yeah. They just go time traveling for some reason.
Right.
And they end up in this observatory out in the middle of space where Matt Berry is this dolphin that is he's tasked with staring at these two planets for all eternity to make sure they don't collide with each other.
Okay.
So SpongeBob and Patrick turn up and he's like, can you keep an eye on those planets? I really need a piss.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right.
Does he say that?
He doesn't say anything. Right. He says something I've been holding it in for 500 years. Okay. And then he goes for a piss and the planets collide. And then they fuck off.
Right. Okay.
And that's Matt Berry's involvement. But now he's main villain.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm completely in.
Yeah.
He's not in it nearly enough.
Okay.
And he's not really Matt Berrying it up either.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Considering it's just his voice as well.
Yeah, the one thing about Matt Berry that is his voice.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got a good physicality and personality.
Yeah, he's a decent comic actor, but yeah, his voice is what you get him for.
Yeah.
He's sort of he's in everything now. Anything that's vaguely culty.
Yes.
Cult comedy, he pops up in it.
Yeah.
And he's in Community, right?
Yeah, he's the grifter.
Yeah, he's in the
Community grifting episode.
And I think a lot of American writers and comedians who are fans of British comedy ask him to be in their things. But now he's in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
He's a co-lead in an Emmy-nominated show.
Well, in fairness, that he probably got that job because of his involvement in British comedy as well. Yeah. It's just that now he's got that's another avenue in which people will find him.
Well, they're all British, aren't they? The three of them in...
well, even the woman.
Yeah. She's... Okay. Natasha Dimitriou, she's on 8 out of 10 Cats, this countdown and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all British. And Phone Jacker, the other one's Phone Jacker.
Yeah.
Rubbing it rapids. Yeah, so I reckon in 5 years, after What We Do in the Shadows has ended, Matt Berry will get his own ABC sitcom.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's already got the British equivalent of that, Toast of London, right? That's his baby. That,
and he's got another one now where he plays... It's a Victorian detective or something.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It didn't grab me.
It didn't grab me either. It's an animal name or something. It's a stupid name.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's the villain.
He's the villain.
Yeah.
But he's really not in it much. You get the first scene where he's introduced. And then I don't think you see him again until the second act.
Year of the Rabbit.
Oh, Year of the Rabbit. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Sorry for derailing you.
That's all right. This review has just become about Matt Berry, and there's all these other elements. Because he's really not important to the film. I guess Keanu Reeves is the supposed to be the breakout star.
Yeah,
I really don't
he's
know.
another one, isn't he? in vogue.
Yes, yeah, he's absolutely everywhere. But I think it's exhausting people a bit now.
Oh yeah, I never got it.
Because it's very much... I like Keanu Reeves, he's in the film enough to be his own character.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just a cameo. It's not just, hey, look, we got Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. Though that clearly is the joke.
Yes.
Because he's playing this... he's called Sage.
Right.
I am a sage and I'm made of sage.
Okay.
That's the joke.
That's the joke.
Of the character. And I guess it's funny because Keanu Reeves can't talk.
Yeah, like Tumbleweed, he's just boring and...
No, not just that. Like we've said before, that he can't string words together.
Can't string two syllables together.
Yeah.
Winston.
Anyone who's seen the John Wick films,
yeah,
you know there's a reason why he keeps his mouth shut in those.
Yeah. That's the thing about Keanu Reeves. I really admire... He's a great action actor.
Yeah.
Like he commits. He learns kung fu and all these things. The Matrix, you know, all him and...
Yeah.
Really 100% commits to the role. And he seems like a nice bloke, but he just cannot act for shit.
No. And yet he's done so... Like, was it you who pointed out, like, he's in, like, 5, like, tentpole franchises?
Yeah, like 5 of the most iconic action films of all time.
Matrix, Point Break,
Speed.
John Wick, Speed.
Yeah,
like, all of these, like, films are like, oh my god, you have to watch this film. He's, like, in them.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted, it's a different genre, but Bill and Ted is, like, a staple of its genre as well.
And he's in Toy Story.
Now, and he's in Toy Story, yeah. I wonder how much editing they had to do in post to get him sounding... Because he sounds all right in Toy Story. He sounds like a person who can speak.
Yeah. Well, isn't the character like an airhead?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. But
So,
he says words and they flow together.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
But yeah, there's a sequence. I will commend the animation because it's like SpongeBob has a very distinct type of animation. It's an animation that I think other shows have used, but like I think there were a lot of complaints when the film was initially revealed because they moved away from the show's animation of like that 2D zany, you know. They're like, oh, why have you done that? It does even though it's 3D animation, this film, it does a very good job of like maintaining that physicality and making it feel like it's a cartoon. And they do some fun stuff with the animation as well. None that I can remember.
Yeah, sure.
But I do think that it's animated very well. And if you're one of those people who's like, oh, that's enough for kids. Just like the fact that it's well animated and there's a lot of stuff going on. If you subscribe to that, then yes, it'll be good enough for kids. It's bright, it's colourful, it moves very quickly and fluidly. So that's nice.
Yeah.
There's a sequence in this film, though, where Patrick and SpongeBob end up in this live-action Western town.
Okay.
And it's unclear whether they're dreaming or not. Deliberately. And I think that's where they meet Keanu Reeves for the first time. And they go into this town, and he's basically like, you have to kill the Zombie King.
Right.
In order to achieve enlightenment or something like that. So they go into this bar and they realize, oh, they're not just zombies, they're cowboy pirate zombies. And then the cowboy pirate zombies break into a musical number.
Sure.
And there's a musical sequence. And then Danny Trejo turns up as the king of the pirate zombie.
Of course.
And like, the last film kind of did this with like Antonio Banderas. He was the main villain, so he had more to do. Right. But I guess that was sort of like, oh, it's Antonio Banderas and he's like being this wacky like pirate burger chef, and he's after he was more integrated into the plot. But I don't know, I was just watching that sequence and I just think back to like the conversations we've had about just like random humor. It's like, well, you could do anything. I'm watching this musical number of like pirate zombie cowboys and it's supposed to be like wacky and zany. And to some people it might be, but to me I was just thinking, why?
Well, that's the thing. I always hated it when people said, you know, in regards to psychedelic animation. Oh man, they must have been high when they made. I've always hated that. Yeah. But equally, I hate when animations seem to lean into that. Yeah. And you know, they lend themselves to that ascription of, oh, it was made by stoners for stoners sort of thing.
There's actually a poster for this film. I think it was back when it was called It's a Wonderful Sponge, where it's just SpongeBob standing in the middle of this poster and there's like a stereotypical psychedelic spiral. Right. And the tagline is something like, this movie's going to be a total trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a play on the idea that it's a road trip movie. Yes. But also, I think in the last film, Sponge Out of Water, that time travel sequence is deliberately stylized to look like an acid trip. But like, that's kind of the joke.
Yeah. This thing, I've heard people other people who agree with me about disliking that they had to be high to make it sort of thing.
Yeah.
What they usually say is, no, it's just imagination. It's people being inventive. Like, you give no credit to the human imagination. And I completely sympathise with that. But at the same time, it's the kind of mighty... And I don't mind the mighty boosh, but it's the mighty boosh humour where I could do it. Oh, they go to... It's a shop where they sell exotic fish. And all of a sudden, they get sucked into the guts of one of the fish.
Yeah.
And there's a cabaret club. I could do that. It's just the most... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's also like a part of the, not skill, but part of the appeal of sketches like that is, most people could think of them, but these guys actually got it made.
Oh yeah, of course.
They actually realised that vision.
Yeah, sure. But you know what I mean? It is kind of like Chinese whisper.
Well,
sometimes.
Funny enough, we were watching, we were recommended by The Hybrid.
Yes.
I didn't think he would think he'd hear his name on the podcast again.
No.
But he recommended we watch Aunty Donna's House of Fun. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of humour in that. It's been a while since I've seen a comedy show. I guess a sketch show. It's a sketch show. Where I've seen a sketch show where the humour is so hit and miss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some quite funny stuff in that show. Because I think the main appeal of Aunty Donna is it's that same kind of humour as Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's cute and innocent and fluffy until it's not.
Yes.
And that's sort of the humour in most of their sketches. But there's genuinely like comedy in that where it feels like anyone could have thought of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There are moments that are funny, but they're moments.
Yes.
The whole construction is, I think, is it the second episode that ends with Abraham Lincoln just shows up and then... It's like, what is this?
Yeah. They're playing football and then Ed Helm shows up. It's like, why are you playing football? And then he just plays football with them.
Yes.
Then the cops do that and Abraham Lincoln shows up.
Yeah.
The third episode, I think they're like, oh, we want to compete in the Olympics. And then this professional wrestler shows up and is like, I'm going to fight you in the Olympics. And Like I said, there's some funny stuff. They've got a sketch called Roll Call, which I saw after the show. That was actually... this is not going to become an Aunty Donna's House of Fun review.
No.
But that's one thing about the show which I was kind of disappointed to learn in retrospect.
Right.
Most of the stuff that they do in the show is sketches they've already done.
Oh, right, okay.
They either outright copy the sketches or they kind of adapt them.
Right. So it's like a collation, is it?
Yeah, it's sort of like a remastering of all of their previous material. So they do that, the Housemates interview?
Yes.
That's based on a sketch they did called Roll Call.
Right.
Which is this teacher calling out names on the register.
Right, okay.
So it's, for example, the reason I brought that up is because there's a perfect, in a microcosm, the difference between their humour. Not their humour, the difference between when it hits and when it misses.
Yes.
There's one moment where they're one of the people he calls out is man not dead, just pretending.
Right.
And it's just one of the guys sitting in his chair with his eyes closed, holding a bouquet of flowers, and then he just looks at the camera and winks.
Right.
It's like, what's the joke there?
Well, here's the thing.
But in terms of when it hits, another one that he announces is bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonator, and it cuts to this woman in a cowboy outfit just going yeehaw. It's completely
okay.
It's just it's so far removed from Schwarzenegger.
So
it's funny. Okay. And then you've got man not dead, just pretending.
Yeah.
There's such a gap there in terms of the quality of the humor.
Yeah, the thing is, there are, as I said, things about it that I found funny. I did laugh, but it's almost Pavlovian. I'm going to laugh when someone falls over, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
Not as slapstick as that, but there are things that you're just gonna knee-jerk laugh at.
Yeah.
But even through that, I gotta be honest, I hated it.
Okay.
I hate the spirit of it.
Okay.
It's not like a dark... I don't think it's cynical, or I don't think it's has a bad heart in that way.
No.
I just think it's deeply... The place it comes from is deeply unfunny.
Well, I mean, it's funded by the Australian government, right?
Is it?
Yeah, they're independent entertainers, but I think that they got their start by getting funding from the government.
Okay.
Because that's in a bunch of their comment sections.
Right.
I think they have a good spirit, and it's clear that they just want to entertain. They love being entertainers and comedians, and that's completely fine. It's interesting seeing their dynamic, because each person, you've got what's his name? The one with the long black hair.
Zach.
Yeah. He's clearly like the most versatile one.
Yeah.
He's able to play so many like different characters. He gets the laughs in that respect. Then you've got, I think it's Broden.
Right.
Who's like the almost bald one.
Yes.
He's incredibly like stoic and stone-faced.
His thing seems to be he'll be impish and then will suddenly go very serious.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
His two modes. It's like incredibly serious. Everything is a drum song.
Yes.
Like when Zach is hitting the pan and it's not a drum and just all of a sudden he's like completely stone-faced. Like, you told me everything was a drum. And he goes, not now, brother Zach. Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other one. Who's literally the other one.
With the top bun.
Yeah, Mark, I think his name is.
Right.
Who is just, he's not funny at all, I don't think.
See, the thing, out of the whole series, I watched all of it.
Okay.
The thing that I liked most was a sketch that he did.
Okay.
And I can't remember the specifics of it. It's him affecting, basically, I think he's of Italian descent.
Yes.
And they're making fun of that.
Oh, is it Old Man Italian?
Maybe. And like they start talking about the ethics of this kind of portrayal.
Yes.
And should we be stereotyping? And then it cuts to his mother, played by him, who's the most stereotypical Italian mother.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Okay.
So that's good. There's a point there as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just not my. It's even though it's Australian, it's very American.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's sort of both. I think it gets that sort of dryness from Australia, and I think that compulsion to be like cute and fluffy and then very suddenly not.
Yeah,
I think that's more an Australian impulse.
Yes.
But yeah, it does follow that American sensibility. It does the whole gag reflex.
Yes.
It does that a lot where it kind of explains the joke.
It does.
After the joke.
The thing with Australian humour that of my limited experience to it, exposure to it, they seem to, when their absurd humour is, their accent goes really fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't quite see in any other regional humour in that way.
Okay.
It's just about doing a silly Australian accent.
Yeah.
Or that's what I've seen a lot.
I mean, we kind of do that in terms of like Welsh
valleys, yeah.
But there might just not be enough Welsh comedy out there,
yeah,
to use that as a point of comparison. But yeah, when you're doing like making fun of like valleys people, you're like, fucking yeah, it just evolves into noise
like a chicken. Yeah.
I don't know why I brought up Aunty Donna in the first place. I think it was to talk about the level of humour. Like,
okay.
Oh, anyone could have done that humour?
Yes.
Yeah,
when they go to the Wild West town and there's a musical number.
Yeah. Because like with Antonio Banderas, his bits, they're mostly disconnected from what's happening in the film, but it's relevant to the plot because he's the villain and he's like hijacked the Krabby Patty secret formula. The whole film is building up to them confronting him.
Okay.
But this Wild West sequence is just there to be there.
Okay.
It has no bearing on the film other than it introduces Keanu Reeves. But Keanu Reeves is in most of the film. His presence is never really explained. And at the end, he just leaves. Okay. He's not the type of character you need to explain his backstory.
Yeah.
You know? The other thing as well, which I found odd about it, I don't know if this is like this year marks an anniversary for SpongeBob. It had that sort of vibe to it.
Unless it was made in 2000.
I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It just had the vibe of like an anniversary project.
Okay.
Where it felt like the beginning feels like it's very much, it's showcasing like the SpongeBob routine, like all the facets of SpongeBob's life, like him waking up in the morning, him meeting his friend Patrick, Squidward being annoyed,
right,
his job at the Krabby Patty. And the way it's all laid out, it feels like it's going, look at what SpongeBob is.
Right.
This is what SpongeBob is. This is his life. This is the show, the universe that we've created. Like he meets Sandy and like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Then peppered throughout the film, you get flashbacks to when SpongeBob first met all of the main characters of the show.
Okay.
So you see his first meeting with Patrick, his first meeting with Squidward, his first meeting with Sandy. In fact, the final act of the film, really, SpongeBob and Patrick are on trial because they tried to steal Gary back.
Right.
And Neptune has them arrested, and he's going to put them on trial and have them executed, basically.
Sure.
So the rest of the characters turn up and basically go, this is how SpongeBob entered my life.
Okay.
This is how my life has improved since SpongeBob entered it.
Right.
Here is the flashback.
Yeah.
And that felt very, like, part of it was just like, oh, what the hell do we do with SpongeBob now? We've done everything with SpongeBob. But also, how do we celebrate SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll literally have the characters say why SpongeBob is so important to them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't feel like SpongeBob is the type of thing where you need to establish the relationships and like you don't need an origin story for SpongeBob.
I mean, there's not much to it, is there?
No, like the Patrick flashback is literally Patrick is on his own. SpongeBob like goes up to him and it's like, "Oh, you're lonely," and Patrick's like, "Yeah, I'm lonely." And SpongeBob's like, "Do you want a friend?" He's like, "Yeah, all right." And then they're just instantly best friends.
Right.
It's not like a complicated, like you didn't need that explained to you.
And that's not done as a joke.
No, it's sincerely like this is where they met.
Right.
This is how that formed.
Okay.
You know, they do it with Gary, it's the snail, they do it with crabs, they do it with everyone.
That would be a funny joke. Like all these convoluted meet cutes. It's like, oh, I remember the first time we met Patrick and you expect this, and you expect this really, elaborate thing. And he's just on his own. He's like, oh, hey, who are you? I'm Patrick. Who are you? I'm SpongeBob. Should we be friends forever? Yeah, okay. And that's it. That'd actually be quite funny.
I don't know. I think it'd be funny if it was like, I remember when we first met, and they flash back, and it becomes so like intricate and complicated.
Yeah.
It takes up the rest of the film to explain it.
Yeah, it is the film. Yeah.
It's like The Shield or something, where there's like 20 different characters that are all working against each other, and somehow through that, Patrick's friendship with SpongeBob triumphs, but at the cost of like everything else. Like they actually used to live in this town called, Shellside.
Yeah.
But that town was basically destroyed because of Patrick and SpongeBob's friendship.
It'd be good if you got, the cold open is them on trial. It's like, how did you meet SpongeBob?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what, Patrick, I'll tell you. And then we go back. You get the whole film where SpongeBob does not meet Patrick at all.
Yeah.
Has this big adventure. And then when the adventure ends at, I don't know, the restaurant or whatever, Patrick just happens to be there. Yeah. So I was like, oh, you're right? Yeah, you're right. And that's it.
Yeah. Like, it's this like insanely intricate political thriller.
Yeah.
With SpongeBob as the main character. And this is at the end.
Incidentally, he's there. Yeah.
Patrick's just there all of a sudden. Yeah. Like SpongeBob is... I think it's kind of what most people would expect it to be. Like, if you like SpongeBob, I think you'll like it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like SpongeBob, I don't think it's going to change your mind. I liked the second film, and I did not like this one.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything to anyone.
Are you a fan of the TV series?
No, I really don't have that much knowledge when it comes to SpongeBob or experience. Like I said, I remember the gorilla episode. I've always remembered the episode where he has that cook-off with Neptune for some reason, where Neptune cooks like 1,000 Krabby Patties, and they're all disgusting, and then SpongeBob cooks one and it's delicious. And they're in competition for some reason. And Neptune, it's so delicious Neptune concedes to SpongeBob.
Right.
I don't know why I remember that one, but that's like the one episode I have a vivid memory of.
The only thing I can remember is there an episode where he's in some sort of withdrawal?
Oh, I don't know.
SpongeBob's in withdrawal from something. That, for some reason, seems familiar to me.
Okay.
But that's it.
Yeah, I genuinely no idea. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of SpongeBob, but I liked the second film enough, and this didn't meet the bar for me.
Okay.
And yeah, the title has no relevance whatsoever, so that's kind of annoying.
Sponge on the Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it sounds dynamic.
I guess.
Yeah. All right, so would you recommend SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run?
I wouldn't.
No.
Anything, really. Like, I wouldn't stop people from going to watch it, but I also wouldn't recommend they go watch it.
Okay. It just is.
It just is, yeah.
Okay. All right, is that your review?
That's my review.
Okay. Well, I've been watching a lot. One of the things I've been watching is The League of Gentlemen, which I've now finished.
Do you want to maybe explain that to me a bit?
What the show is?
Yeah.
The League of Gentlemen is a British comedy show from the late 90s, early noughties. It's Reese Shearsmith, Steve Pemberton, and Mark Gatiss.
Okay.
Playing a host of grotesque characters in this fictional English town called Royston Vasey.
Physically grotesque or like morally grotesque?
Both.
Okay.
Both. It's a comedy, but it's incredibly dark.
Right.
Most of the characters are kind of murderers or, it's grim.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's grim, not at the expense of humour. Well, I suppose so, yeah. Like, it doesn't even intend to be funny at certain points because it's just so grim.
Okay.
It's horror comedy sort of thing. But yeah, so been watching that, and I watched the Christmas special from the year 2000 on iPlayer.
Okay.
And I noticed a disclaimer that I haven't seen before.
All right.
And the disclaimer said, "The League of Gentlemen is a classic comedy which reflects the broadcast standards, language, and attitudes of its time. Some viewers may find this content offensive."
Okay.
Now, I've seen the "some viewers may find this content offensive" thing before, but I've never seen that bit of history lesson. This is a classic comedy which reflects the attitudes of its time.
Yeah.
The very, very long time ago that was the year 2000. Yeah, I mean, the thing about that is it's kind of annoying in that very superficial, woke way. You know what I mean? Of like, because the thing is, there are characters in the show there's a character called Papa Lazarou who it's basically blackface.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a circus ringmaster, minstrel, evil character.
Right.
He's not black.
Okay.
You know? He kind of is, but he's not. It's a weird thing. And then a lot of jokes, like there's a German character who's a closeted gay, and there's a lot of kind of unwitting puns about that. And,
okay.
Yeah, and the thing about that, so the warning, beyond its kind of surface level of annoyance, the really depressing thing about that to me is that it suggests that nothing like that will get made again.
Okay.
That's where I see the real problem.
I see.
I can put up with a disclaimer underneath saying, this is an antiquated piece of, historic propaganda or whatever. Yeah. But that's the really bleak thing about it, is that, well, we're going to clean up our act.
Yeah.
From here on out.
You will never get the League of Gentlemen again.
Yes.
A show that, like you said, from 2000.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, but still not a long time ago.
No. I don't think, like, social attitudes have
shifted
that much.
Yeah.
Well, okay, they haven't shifted that radically in reality.
Okay.
I think if you took a glance at social media, you'd think they've shifted radically.
Right, okay.
The transgender issue, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is in a different place than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think in the hearts and minds of most people, we are where we were in the year 2000.
Okay.
If anything, things have just gotten worse.
Right.
Thoughts?
I can see how it would annoy you. Yes. I think it seems like the type of thing that would annoy you. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit shit.
Uh-huh.
I suppose it's nice that they didn't just outright get rid of it.
Yes, it's better than... Is it Netflix have gotten rid of a bunch of stuff?
Oh, we did a whole episode on it, didn't we?
Channel 4 have.
Yeah. What was the most recent one? The IT Crowd episode?
Yes, the one where he marries the transgender.
Yeah, well, I don't think he marries her.
Oh, yeah,
just
they
dating.
get engaged.
But yeah. The episode where she used to be a man. It's played by, like, an actress.
Yeah.
But yeah, she used to be a man. He misunderstands. So when they're a while into the relationship and he finds it out, quote unquote, they end up in this like massive fist fight.
Yes.
Which she wins, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that's the joke, isn't it?
Yes.
That he's just fighting a man.
Yeah. And he's getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's considered too offensive. Or it's like too anti-trans.
Yes. I think the argument was that it would legitimize violence against trans people.
I see.
Yeah.
Even though the trans person won the violence.
Speaking of which...
are we going to bring her up?
I just
did the thing.
Just realised, yeah. I think it was yesterday it broke for us, the news. Ellen Page is Elliot Page now.
Yes.
But the most hilarious thing about all of it is, all the headlines are Elliot Page announces he is transgender.
Yes.
If I was a casual reader...
Yeah.
I would think, who the hell's Elliot Page?
Who the fuck's Elliot Page? Exactly.
I guess Elliot Page is now becoming a woman, would be my thought.
Yeah.
But this kind of retconning of the language.
Yeah, because you gotta understand that like a lot of people are not against it. They just don't care. Yeah. They don't keep up with like the where we are now.
Yeah.
Like what language is changing into, and they a lot of people probably wouldn't. Yeah, a lot of people probably wouldn't think, oh, it says he, therefore. This is a woman who's becoming a man, not the other way around.
Yeah.
They would just see, he's announced that he's transgender.
Yes.
Oh, a guy's becoming a woman.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess welcome to the patriarchy, Mr. Page.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if given any to see if there's any accusations leveled at her. Of
like all of a sudden, he's being hassled.
You're now a recipient of white male privilege.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's that. I feel like Ellen. There might not be enough good roles for women in Hollywood, but this is drastic.
Quite a drastic thing to do. Yeah.
So, she's a lesbian. She came out as lesbian.
Yeah, don't start this.
She came out as lesbian a few years ago.
Okay.
And which I believed.
Okay. I think most people did, right?
Oh yeah. Fair. I completely believe you.
Yeah.
And now she's come out as trans, and I don't really. Let's ignore the psychology of it.
Okay.
But what does that make her now? Because in her coming out manifesto, whatever you want to call it, she says that she's proud to be trans and she's proud to be queer.
Yeah, that would make her gay, right? But like man gay.
I don't know what queer
gay.
is. I never really understood what queer means.
Well, queer is queer like anything on the LGBT spectrum?
I don't think so.
You could be just transgender, but you're still queer.
I don't know.
Or do you have to be gay? When you change gender, you have to be gay in that gender to be gay. Because he is a man now. Like, it's not like, I used to be a woman, therefore I still count as lesbian.
Well,
no, he is a man now.
Not only is he a man now, he always was a man.
Oh, he always was a man.
Yeah.
So when he was a lesbian, he was actually straight.
Yeah, Juno was a bloke.
Yeah, Juno's actually a gay film now.
Yes.
Yeah.
About a man...
male
pregnancy.
Yeah, the first male pregnancy.
It's a sci-fi film.
Sci-fi film.
So it's interesting because I don't know if I'm assuming she's still interested in women.
Yes.
So she's gone from being a lesbian woman to a straight man.
A straight white man.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Not cis.
No.
She's got that over us at least.
Yes.
But
there was something trending yesterday, a hashtag, wasn't it? Like, start cis shaming or something.
What does that even mean? Just like,
I don't know.
Fuck you for not being anything.
I think the idea, I guess the thinking is, we get shamed for being trans all the time, so now we're going to shame you for being normal. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of mileage in that.
Yeah.
Fuck you for being normal.
Yeah.
A lot of what's the Joe Rogan thing? Like people who try to make fun of people from LA. Oh, like you're gonna make fun of me for speaking clearly and concisely.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you're gonna make fun of me for being like straight.
Yeah.
What exactly do you have to work with there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like this sort of thing, like anti-white, anti-man, anti all that. It's not a case of being offended by it because it is laughable, isn't it? Like when they're like, let's start cis shaming.
Right.
If someone ever came up to me and said, "Hi, you're a cis, you don't know anything," I would go, "Oh, fuck off."
Yeah.
I would just find it funny and a bit annoying. But the real kind of problem is, do you realize I know you think you're in opposition to something, but the problem is, by your own definition, you are the fringe against a monolith.
Mm.
That's your conception of it, is that you're the Rebel Alliance, with the Empire. Problem is, in reality, the Rebel Alliance would not win.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I would... Picking fights with everyone who's not in a niche category seems like a bad strategy to me.
Yeah, that's literally everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, to be fair, what was that comedian that talked about... was it Norm Macdonald? Oh, I can't remember. Like Germany, one country, World War I, World War II. They took on every other country, basically.
Yes.
And not only was that, ballsy in and of itself, but they almost won.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good. So it could be that analogy, where they're deciding, it's like, oh, who's going to be your competitor in battle? Oh, everyone who's cis. Yeah, you're on your own. You're on your own for this one.
Yeah, but I mean, you say that, like, you brought up the Rebel Alliance as an analogy.
Yeah.
And you said in reality they won't win. But in the films, they won.
No, that's what I'm saying. In reality, the Rebel Alliance wouldn't win.
No, they wouldn't win. But they did win in the films. So there's still a reality in which they could win.
No.
I'm just following on from what you said about the Germans, like, almost winning.
Right. But that's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was taking your, like, analogy.
Yes.
And I was tying it into the real example that you gave.
Okay.
It's like, oh, well, maybe this is, maybe, like, they could almost win. They won't win.
Yes.
But it'll be interesting to see how close they get.
Okay.
Or not. You don't like that at all, do you?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for trying to participate in this conversation.
That's right. What else we got?
Have you been watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
No.
Okay. Have you ever watched I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Not really.
Okay. Are you familiar with I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
Yes,
Yes, okay. Are you familiar with this year's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here?
I know it's in a Welsh castle.
Yes, that's the big difference. For those who don't know, because I don't know how wide appeal it's got, or whether it's one of those shows that's like, it has loads of different versions now.
I'm not sure.
It might still just be the British version. So I'm a Celebrity, it's a reality show.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Sort of in the vein of Big Brother, but instead of taking a bunch of celebrities and putting them in this house together for 2 or 3 weeks, they take these celebrities and they put them in the middle of the Australian rainforest for 2 or 3 weeks. And the big appeal of the show, the thrust of it is, it's just like hidden camera footage of them going about their lives in this incredibly restricted environment. But the real appeal of the show is these bush tucker trials where they have to do very physically demanding things, like, you know, they have to like walk across a canyon, or they have to, you know, be buried underground, or the most famous one is they have to eat disgusting things like, you know, mealworms and like cockroaches and like testicles, animal testicles, not, you know, human testicles. That would be strange. But this year, obviously, because of the pandemic, they couldn't go traveling to Australia because that would be not on. So they're doing it rather than doing it in the middle of the Australian rainforest, they're doing it in a Welsh castle. So already people were like, okay, bit of an upgrade for these celebrities. They've kind of got it easy. But they were like, oh, no, this castle's actually, like, there's not much we can do to the environment, so it's going to be very cold. And also, this is a haunted castle.
Sure.
So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be taxing in that respect. So I have like no expectations for I'm a Celebrity, right? It's one of those shows like The X Factor where I watched it when I was a kid and have long since outgrown it. But I don't know, the novelty sort of grabbed me. I was like, okay, it's set in Wales. It's supposed to be a haunted castle. I'm curious as to what they're going to do with it. Do you know what they've done with it?
What have they done with it?
Nothing.
It's just the same thing.
It's exactly the same show,
yeah.
But instead of them being in the middle of the Australian rainforest where they are exposed to the elements and they are exposed to the creatures and they have to live away from their families in this incredibly... It's just that, but it's in this castle.
Right.
It's not haunted in the slightest. Literally the only way in which it's... Like the only thing they do with the haunted... Because I thought that would be like an interesting way of doing it. Like, we can't put them through these physically demanding... We can't, like, put them through the elements in Australia, and we can't just, like, throw creatures into the camp, because it would be completely unnatural. So we're going to try it, you know, we might, like, pump in this weird ambience to freak them out, or we might, like, you know, make it, like, haunted or something.
Yeah.
Like, play that up a little bit. But it's literally just the day after an episode comes out, in the papers, it says... Oh, the I'm a Celebrity crew were really scared when filming.
Right.
That's literally all they do with the haunted castle aspect.
Okay.
Also, there's been like loads of rumours that the castle is like central heated.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the middle of winter in Wales. It's freezing fucking cold.
Yes.
And they're all like wearing t-shirts.
Right.
They're just completely like, they don't seem bothered at all by the conditions.
Yeah.
They've got hot running water. Granted, somebody has to pump it.
Okay.
But they've got hot running water.
Yeah.
And... Like, it's just the same. Like, obviously, you're not a fan.
No.
I'm not a fan. It's like garbage television, right?
Yes.
It's just junk food garbage television.
Yeah.
That, like, you talk about it when you're at the hairdressers. Because it's something inane that everyone's seen.
It's for stupid people.
It's for stupid people.
Yeah.
But, out of curiosity, I bring this up for one question, basically. Were they obligated to do anything different? Is this genuinely a missed opportunity? Like, I'm a Celebrity, like I said, it's not a great show, and it's certainly capable of being lazy, but is this just too lazy for its own good?
If you mean, should they have done more... if we're at the planning stage of, right, we can't do it in Australia, so what are we going to do? Or are we at the stage where we've decided it's in a castle?
It's in a castle. Like,
yeah, but like where are we at hypothetically?
Well, I suppose if we're going to do like hypotheticals, what do? We have to keep it in the country.
Yeah.
So what's like an ideal analog for the Australian rainforest? I would say during winter, but then again, it's like the middle of summer in winter in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really sleep outside here in the winter.
No, you would die.
Yeah. So yeah, it has to be inside. I mean, a castle's not a bad idea.
No.
But yeah, it's what they've done with it. I guess replicate the conditions of the castle in its primacy.
Okay.
So they have to live in the same way that a king or a queen would have lived there.
Well,
that sounds like grand.
Yes, exactly.
But you know what I mean, like but they're all peasant workers.
Yeah, like scurvy is a possibility.
Sure, right. Yeah.
Maybe
something like that, where hot water and all that. It's really difficult to.
Yeah. They don't have hot running water and central heating. Oh, and apparently most of the locations they use in the castle are sets that they've built.
Right. Okay.
So, like literally, what is the point?
They built a castle set in a castle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a listed building, so they can't make any structural changes to it. Yeah. So most of the trials and like where Ant and Dec present it, all of that's a set. I'm convinced that the actual location that the celebrity's in is a set as well.
Right.
Like someone more trained than me could probably explain specifically why it does or doesn't look like a set. But I don't know, like you know a set when you see one, right?
Oh yeah.
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 They look like it just doesn't have the right texture to it.
Yeah.
It's just too clean. And that's what the stone, I know they would have had to clean it up, but the stone in this castle just looks so clean and smooth. There's like no filth or grime anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, it doesn't look real. The stone genuinely looks like it's made out of like packing stuff you put like packages in.
They probably are in a set.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they want to risk causing any damage or fucking up the castle.
Yeah.
In any way. So yeah, they probably are. What is the nature of the trials they have to do then?
It's effectively the same thing.
Right.
Where, buried underground eating disgusting shit.
Right.
They've again, very weakly, they've tried to make it a bit more relevant to like Britain.
Well, yeah, because the Bush Tucker trials, I'm assuming that's like a custom, an Australian tradition or whatever.
Well, I don't know if it's an Australian tradition, but it's all Australian critters that
Yeah, like in the jungle critters.
Yeah, so kangaroo penis and like witchetty grubs, they're all absent from the drinking trials. Instead, it's like deer and cow penis.
Right.
So they tried to make it a bit more British.
Okay.
But like the title sequence, for example.
Badger cock.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Just saying the word badger cock.
Yeah.
Do badgers have big cocks? Would that be a difficult thing to eat?
Well, they are apex predators.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily
must be for a reason.
It doesn't necessarily mean they have big cocks.
No. I don't know. Probably
pig
not.
Vagina. Someone had to drink a pig vagina.
Drink a pig vagina?
Yeah, they like blended a pig vagina.
A liquefied pig vagina.
Yeah, and they had to drink that.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the opening title sequence of I'm a Celebrity for years has been, it's all like, CG animated.
Pork snatching.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey. See, Eddie, we don't need you after all. Yeah, it's basically these helicopters flying like the letters I'm a Celebrity onto like the rainforest. And then it zooms out and it's like replicating the Hollywood sign with I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. It's exactly the same title sequence.
Including the blue sky and the...
Yeah, and the jungle setting.
Right.
It's exactly the same. The only thing they've done is when it says I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, like cardboard cutouts of a castle like pop out of the jungle.
Okay.
But like you couldn't even come up with like a new title scene. The trial music, I think they've added an organ to that to give it like a spooky feel.
Right.
But that's literally the only thing they've changed.
Do you think it's their way of saying it's different, but we're not changing the show? Like we will be back.
But that's my question. Should they have? Like surely, like I'm pretty sure that their viewing figures have shot way up this season. Because of novelty's sake. It's the same when Jodie Whittaker took over and there was like that huge spike in viewers. It's like, oh, it's something different.
Yeah.
Like, surely this is your opportunity to go, right, we're gonna, like, this is our chance to change I'm a Celebrity.
Well, right.
To spice it up a bit.
A creative, artistic point of view, then, Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But from a realistic, pragmatic point of view, shows like I'm a Celebrity have to be kind of fiercely reassuring to people who watch it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm a Celebrity. I don't know if it's considered a success in terms of viewership typically, but I'm pretty sure, like, every season its viewership is just going down and down and down.
Maybe.
Because it's the same thing every year. The only people left are genuinely the people who are like, they'll watch anything.
Britain's Got Talent and those sorts of shows.
Those kind of people.
Yeah. But those shows have to occupy a very no sharp edges, baby-proofed space, don't they?
Again, that's fine, but I don't know, like... The setting is so like radically different. Like a rainforest and a castle are not analogues.
No.
The fundamental experience those people are going through is entirely different. I've only seen like 3 episodes of this I'm a Celebrity.
Yeah.
Because it's the type of thing that goes on at mealtime when the family are in the room. But like everyone's just getting on. Like most reality shows, you watch I'm a Celebrity for the trials, but also you want to see people bickering.
Yeah.
And like most of like the notable as if it's like something important, but like the memorable I'm a Celebrity years are the ones where like drama happened. Like when Peter Andre, is it Peter Andre or Karis Matthews that left their partner?
I'm not sure. Peter Andre and Jordan, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Peter Andre and Jordan.
Yeah.
There was Karis Matthews and somebody else.
Okay.
They like broke up with their partner and hooked up in the jungle.
Right. Okay.
Kind of like with Big Brother.
Yeah.
Like Jade Goody was like one of the first thing you think of when you think of Big Brother. Like drama.
Yeah.
And there's just like no drama. Everyone's getting on. Mo Farah is quite ditzy.
Okay.
That's what this show was revealed. He's just like off in his own world. He doesn't seem to get things.
Yeah.
But other than that, like everyone's just... I've heard that there's like been a couple of arguments, but it's too late in the game for that now. They're getting voted off at this point.
I don't know. There is something... I feel like they should just be living in a kind of an unmodernized castle. There's something... With the jungle, it's difficult and there are insects and it's humid. And, I'm sure it's exhausting. You see, lying on hammocks and it's like, oh, God, it's hot. And so it would be interesting to see a more British version of that where everyone's constantly just fucking freezing. It's like trying to wrap up all the time. Thing is, the jungle is kind of a static environment, isn't it? Where it's basically, I imagine it's stickier at night. But you're just in the same thing all the time. Whereas over here, it's going to be alright in the day. And then fucking freezing at night. I'd watch that.
They're on a weird schedule as well, because obviously typically it's filmed in Australia. So a day will go by in the jungle, and then the crew have all the rest of the day back here to edit and compile the footage. Whereas now they're having to like wake up in the middle of the day and go to sleep at like 3. So the crew have enough time to like put everything together.
Right.
So I think for them, most of their experience is the night.
Okay.
For the Celebrities. So it would be cold for most of the time for them.
Are we getting the X Factor this year then?
Do you know, I genuinely don't know if that's even on anymore. I think Britain's Got Talent is on.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was like a thing on Facebook where someone posted, because they're doing a socially distanced thing. So they've got like the 4 judges at like their own separate desks. And then like the entire audience are on like a Zoom call.
Ah, right, yeah.
So it's like the post was something like, Britain's Got Talent's now looking like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
So I think that's happening. But is X Factor done?
No idea.
I genuinely haven't even heard of it the last couple of years. They haven't done... They do the Christmas #1 thing, right? That's the point of the X Factor.
Yeah.
You win the show, you get the Christmas #1 spot. I feel like it's been years since there's been an X Factor Christmas #1.
Well... In 2010, Rage beat Joe McElderry, didn't they?
Yeah, that was like a big shock.
Yeah.
That was all back when the X Factor was like peak.
Yeah, or
like, oh my God, something dethroned the X Factor.
Yeah. After that, did they get another #1?
I think they did.
Okay.
And then last year, it was an X Factor. It was some weird, like... Was it chicken nuggets or something like that?
Chicken nuggets?
Sausage rolls.
Oh, sausage rolls. Yeah.
Something weird like that got through.
Okay.
It was like a parody song where they swapped out one of the words with sausage rolls.
Right.
And that got the Christmas #1 spot.
Okay.
The other thing about I'm a Celebrity that disappointed me, they have... This is something that was brought in after I stopped watching it, but it's something I was aware of through osmosis, I guess, because I'm a Celebrity is still that big that you can learn about it through osmosis. Kiosk Keith.
Right.
There's this character called Kiosk Keith.
Right.
And they go, like, this isn't a trial now. They just go out, 2 campmates, like, randomly go out into the jungle, and they conduct this, like, separate trial. Which is often more fun than having to eat, like, testicles. It's usually like, oh, there's, like, you know, we have to carry this water from this place to this place, or we have to climb this tree or something like that. And they bring their prize to this kiosk, which is occupied by Kiosk Keith.
Yes.
And then he asks the camp a question.
Right.
If they get it wrong, they don't get a treat. But if they get it right, they get a treat of their choosing.
Okay.
And he's a very Australian man. Deliberately so. A very Australian man.
Yes.
Obviously, they couldn't bring Kiosk Keith over to Britain because he's Australian. So instead, this season, we get Kiosk Cledwin.
Right.
A very Welsh man.
Yeah.
Who has, like, a massive, like, farmer... He has a farmer's cap and a massive handlebar moustache.
Okay.
And his face is very wrinkly and worn. And he's clearly, like... He looks like he's been on the farm his entire life.
Right.
And I really wanted him to either be the Welshest man that ever lived or just speak Welsh.
Right.
And they like couldn't understand him, and that was like part of the challenge. They had to sort of figure out what he was saying.
Yeah.
But he just sounds like Rob Brydon.
Okay.
He sounds like that kind of RP Welsh.
Yeah.
Where they're still like clearly Welsh, but they're so like clear in what they say that it's barely an accent.
Okay.
I was very disappointed.
I guess people in Scotland have to understand what he's saying.
No.
He can't talk like I don't know.
Yeah,
proper
like
Cardiff.
No, Cardiff is like, oh mate, like it's almost like a
well,
kind of Londony, almost like street speak
with the young people. Yes, but the Cardiff accent is alright. It's almost like Liverpool or something.
Right.
Alright, how's it go? You know, like my guy who lives with my father is from Cardiff, and he has a proper Cardiff accent. Yeah, but no, he just sounds kind of blandly Welsh, does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, massive missed opportunity. Get the Welshest man you can find. Don't get like just some like guy who's been getting rid of his accent all these years.
Yeah.
Especially since he looked the part. He like genuinely looked the part. So yeah, I'm a Celebrity is a fucking letdown.
Okay. How could it let you down though?
Well, because I was expecting something different. Not groundbreaking, not like brilliant. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden now they've moved it to Wales, it's like an amazing show.
Yeah.
Just like, I feel like even for garbage television, this was incredibly lazy.
Okay.
Do you concur from what I've described?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sloth is exactly what I would expect for a show like that.
Okay.
They're not trying to break the mold. They know they got the viewers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, it was kind of depressing because again, it's the first time I watched it in years, and the way you vote for your celebrities now is you download the app, the I'm a Celebrity app, and you vote on the app. Right. I remember when you had to phone.
Yeah, I miss all that stuff. Like when you
they've still got they wear like obviously like jumpers and body warmers. They still have the phone number printed on them, but it's completely irrelevant now.
I miss when you had on the backs of magazines like you could download a ringtone.
Yeah,
you know, that sort of thing.
I used to read those, like they used to come in the TV guide, and you flip to the very back, it has all the codes and everything.
Yeah.
It's like one day I'm going to own a phone where I can download shit. Yeah. And by the time I did, that was completely irrelevant. It's like, oh, I can just download everything from the internet.
By the time you got to that point, you just wanted to go back to the simpler version of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that your review of I'm a Celebrity?
Yeah, so fuck I'm a Celebrity.
Okay. Shall we briefly talk about the election?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah. There's not much to say.
Okay. Well, it deserves acknowledgement.
Yes.
Like, we have sort of brought it up a couple of times in previous recordings. But news was changing so quickly.
Yeah, it was in flux, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like, even though the last couple of episodes have taken longer than usual to come out, even if we'd stuck to our regular schedule, it would have been outdated by the time it came out.
Yeah.
But now things seem to have settled down a bit.
Yeah, now shy of some cosmic anomaly, we know exactly what's going to happen.
Yes.
So, yes, Joe Biden is going to be the next president.
Yes, he is.
Of the United States.
For like 20 minutes, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that new film, isn't it? The Prom, which how is it described?
Oh, yeah, Ryan Murphy's new film. I say new film. Has he done films before?
Yeah, he's done a film before.
Okay. Yeah, I googled it because we were talking to Eddie. That poor man, that brilliant man. We were talking to Eddie about the Oscar favorites for the Oscar, and the prom suddenly entered the race. So I looked it up, and literally the first article I saw was The Guardian, and it was something like, The Prom is Ryan Murphy's musical the first film of the Biden era?
Yeah.
It's like, what does it even mean?
If it is, he'll be the last as well, won't it?
Yeah, he's not going to last that long, guys.
He's not. Keep an eye on Kamala. Yeah.
Is that supposed to imply that she's going to,
Oh, yeah, bump him off. Absolutely. The problem is, if he... I think the way that they've set it up, right, is that Joe Biden appeals to the center-left, kind of old-school, liberals.
Okay.
And she is radical. And they've used that to kind of bring in every element of the left that they could. And if he goes, you're just kind of left with the radical bit.
Yes.
Like, her pronouns are in her Twitter bio.
Oh, right. Okay.
She's one of those people.
I see.
The thing is, we'll never know how legitimate... Listen, I'm not one of these, there was voter fraud. There obviously was. The scale of it is what's important. We'll never know how legitimate the result is. I think it's pretty clear that he won. There's no, disputing...
Yeah, I think even after the recounts, because there are some states that have now done recounts.
Yeah.
And, Biden still won in those places.
So, here's the thing. I wanted Trump to win, but now that he hasn't, I'm weirdly relieved.
Okay.
And there's a photon of hope that maybe things will get boring again.
God, it's a depressing sign of the times, isn't it? When the best possible outcome is things can be boring at last.
Yeah, a return to a kind of normalcy.
Yeah.
Pre-Obama normalcy.
Yeah, where politics wasn't the center of the universe for everyone.
Yeah, where people didn't derive entertainment from their politics.
Yeah.
Where there was entertainment and then there was politics.
Yeah, and now, who knows the difference anymore?
Exactly. Thing is, nothing can be trusted. I trust nothing anymore. You can't trust news. Nothing. Everything can be faked.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing The Social Dilemma. It just completely pokes holes through anything you might think is true.
Yeah, genuinely.
And so... I mean, social media is a black hole. I was genuinely thinking, I think we're at the time in history where you have got to decide for your mental, if not mental health, then your mental contentment, whether you want to be part of I'm speaking slightly hyperbolic language for now, the fight or not.
Okay.
Because if you've got the stomach for it, absolutely. But if you're just someone who wants a quiet life, you need to get off all social media.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Because I glance at Twitter and dependent on the day, it can make me irate. Just glancing and I go, this is so full of shit. And not even opinionated stuff, it's just wrong. So I did have a bit of should I stay or should I go moment.
Right.
Because I do think we're at the point now where you've got to decide.
If you go, there will be trouble.
But if I stay, Jord, there will be double.
That's true.
It doesn't seem like that much of a dilemma, really. He's confessing that one of them is doubly as bad.
Yes, exactly.
As the other. Just go. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's shit both ways, but if you stay, it's more shit.
Yeah, it's doubly
twice as shit. Yeah.
But there is a part of me that's like, oh God, if I think I said it before the election, if we could guarantee by electing Biden that all the people that despise Trump so much, they think they're living in Hitlerian America, BLM, Antifa, if they would die down because they think, oh, our guy's in now.
Yeah.
We no longer have to take Hitler out. We can just chill out. Then I think that's for the better. Even though I think they're wrong.
Yeah, it just gives everyone a time to calm down a bit.
Yeah. But the danger, obviously, is that he kowtows to that and just reinforces it.
Well, that was going to be my question. Is now that Biden has won and now that Biden is in, is Biden Hitler now?
Is Biden Hitler?
Yeah, because he kowtows to that sort of stuff. In the debates, he's admitted, quote unquote, that there is institutional racism in America and all that shit.
words that did not sit easily on his tongue.
No.
Because he never heard them before last year.
No, exactly, yeah. But he does represent everything that they're fighting against. He is, white, straight, male, and he is, like, the system. He's been in politics all his life. This system that he is, again, quote-unquote, outed as institutionally racist, he is now the hood ornament of that system.
Right.
So will it be a case of, like, right, we've got you in power now, Biden. We got rid of Trump. We don't need to worry about him anymore. So let's talk about, your sexual misconduct charges. Let's talk about this whole, like, whatever this business with your son in Ukraine is. Let's talk about the fact that you're cis white gendered and, this Kamala Harris, the first black woman vice president is playing second fiddle to you. Like, is he going to become the enemy now?
No.
Okay. Why is he not going to become the enemy?
Well, with the very radical contingent, yes. The people who, like, if you are white and a man, then yeah, like, you are just part of a problem. And yes, of course. But he's not Trump.
No.
Is the thing. And I feel like whenever people would level things about Trump at me, I go, I 100% agree with you on every count, basically, about his impropriety and his bullishness and all that sort of thing. But he's not Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That was, so I feel like...
it's now that, but with Biden.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I agree with you about Biden, but he's not Trump.
But he's not Trump. And I think that will be enough for most people.
It'll be enough now, but like 3 years from now, will it still be enough?
That's the thing. It's got to wear off. People have to sort of forget about Trump. I don't know how long that's going to take, though, is the thing. He left quite an imprint.
He certainly has. And also, he's definitely going to run again, right?
He has to, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna I'm gonna do my 2 terms.
Yeah, exactly.
3.
Yeah, the first 3-term president.
No, there has been a 3-term president before, I think.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, you'll have to do 4 then.
You have to do 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Longest president ever. Yeah, I've got the longest. I've got the longest terms. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I want. I want a boring world, George.
Yeah.
I want great entertainment and a boring world.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Is that so much to ask for?
It shouldn't be, should it?
No.
Nobody cared about politics before Obama?
That's the question, right? Because we're in our mid-20s now.
Yeah.
So pre-Obama politics, we were children, basically.
Yeah, I know.
Politics literally meant nothing to us.
Oh, yeah, of course. And we can't give a totally fair analysis. And Bush predated Obama. And there was a lot about Bush. As a kid, you heard a lot about George Bush.
You heard a lot about George Bush, but again, this might be just looking at it through the prism of being a child. But you made fun of George Bush's mannerisms.
His face,
and his face, and his voice, and the fact that he fumbled over his words a lot. You didn't make fun of his ideology or his policy.
Yeah.
But did they?
I'm sure
they
did.
make fun of it and we just didn't pick up
on it? Yeah, The Daily Show. All that stuff is out there. Satire and political commentary.
Especially like 9/11. Like, I imagine around the time of 9/11, people were very vocal about what they thought of George Bush.
Yeah.
The thing in the school where he's reading the book to the kids.
Yeah.
That's been the centre of conversation for a long time. Like how he should have conducted himself, or did he do it the right way, and that kind of stuff.
Yes, but now we live in the age of social media. And even though there was, I'm sure, to say nobody cared about politics is obviously not true. There've always been politicos and insider political. And I'm sure if I was my age in the 90s, I would be very interested in politics. But most people didn't have to hear about it all the time.
Yes.
And I think that's what's changed, right?
Yeah.
Trump. Constantly, 24/7, all the time.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast with Eric Weinstein, and he said before the election, one of the opportunity costs is that if Trump does get elected again, then a lot of really smart people are going to have to spend the next 4 years talking about his latest tweet again.
Yeah.
So that's good. That maybe that won't be the case now. They can get back to thinking about the important things.
Okay.
And not Donald Trump's manner.
Yeah.
But
they'll have to talk about it again in 4 years' time.
Yeah, but give us 4 years off. Just give us 4 years off.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even been sworn into office yet, so it's impossible.
No. He'll be dead by then.
He'll be dead by then, yeah. But it'd be pure speculation to talk about what a Biden presidency is going to be, what it's going to look like.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because he's there's a great thing that Christopher Hitchens used to say all the time when he's promoting God is not great, I think. And he would equate belief in God to North Korea. He would say they're very similar because in North Korea, you've got the Trinity, you've got the grandfather, the father, and the great grandfather. You've got that Trinity. You've got the fact that they worship basically the first leader, the first Kim, who is still officially the head of the state, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
And the thing he always used to say is it's a necrocracy. Like, that was the word he invented for it. And I joked about that when Biden, when he won the elections, like, oh, so commenceth the necrocracy.
Right.
Because of how old he is. But you've got that on the one side, the kind of the zombie goober thing of Biden. And then if he goes, it gets replaced by a young black woman.
Yeah. Who's
pretty radical.
Yeah.
So those two together is quite like it's like old money and new money almost.
Yeah,
yeah. So now that Biden has been elected, I really, really hope that he stays president for the next 4 years.
Just 4 years, right?
Just 4 years.
8 is asking too much, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a presidency where like just nothing happens, the best presidents of all time, like Lincoln accepted and stuff, did very little.
Okay. Well,
they just kept it ticking over.
I think Kennedy's considered broadly to be a great president, right? And I think he did things.
What did he do?
Well, things.
What?
I'm asking you, did he do things?
Well, yeah, I'm sure, but I mean...
Because I'm one of those plebs who knows Kennedy because he was murdered. Or assassinated.
No, but that's it. People know him because he was assassinated.
But I feel like everyone liked him.
Well, he represented optimism, I think, because he said in... I don't know much about like what he did as a president, but I know that he said in like early 60s, by the end of this decade, we will put a man on the moon. And when he said that, he had absolutely no cause to say it.
Yeah.
There was no workable thing to get to space. Nothing. Didn't exist. The space program didn't exist. He just said that we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then they did it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, he was a philanderer and, all these other things.
Oh, yeah. And enough people have said that if Kennedy had not been assassinated, like all of that stuff would have come out and he would have probably been disgraced.
Well, it's interesting because I think he was the first Catholic president, because I remember them going on about Joe Biden would only be the second Catholic president.
Yeah.
So it's a very apt comparison.
Yeah, as if that means anything to anyone.
But I think I pointed out before, Kennedy died in office.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The comparison might be very opposite. Yeah.
Is that a correlation you want to draw on there? Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Do you share my hopes for a boring world?
That nothing will happen. The thing that I'm worried about there is that if it's a very boring presidency, because it's been a very not boring presidency for the last 4 years, people will look at the boring and go, oh, it wasn't Trump. It wasn't like constant bullshit every day. It wasn't people arguing constantly. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Therefore, Biden was a great president because everyone kind of shut up.
Yeah.
And some things happened, I think. So yeah, I'm worried that he will be committed to the history books as like one of the great political minds because he dethroned the tyrant Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he united the nation. When in reality, everyone was just like, everyone just went to sleep because there was nothing to do.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, who knows? But like, I think a lot of people have said he's a lot more center than he's been making out in debates and stuff. He's going to govern more from the center. I mean, as long as he's not excusing Black Lives Matter, Antifa, things like that, then I don't really care, I sort of don't care.
Is he the type of president that would sort of, like, he appealed to a certain demographic during the election because he knew that's what would get him back in office. Well, I say back in office. He would get his party back in office.
Yeah.
And now that he's in the White House, he's like, right, I'm just going to do my own thing now. Whether it works against the people who voted me in or not, I'm just going to do what I think is right. Do you think he's one of those presidents, or do you think he's going to be like, right, well, I have to stick to my guns. I have to do this shit even if I don't agree with it. Because they're the people who got me in.
Well, it's often been said about Biden that he blows in the direction of the wind.
Yeah.
So
Because that's the other thing as well. The people who voted Biden in are the people who are quote unquote right. They're the people who are seen as the good guys. The left are the good guys. So I don't think a president will want to do something that helped the bad guys, would he?
No. Yeah, I don't know. I just... I think he should govern... Oh, I don't know, actually, because I don't know what that would mean. He should govern like he's not going to get a second term, because he probably won't.
Yeah.
He should, so in that respect, he shouldn't have to keep any promises. Because the thing with the president, right, the first term is always, right, how do we get a second term?
Yeah.
Everything is geared towards that. I think it'd be healthy for a president to run on the thing of, I'm only going to do one term, so I'm going to do what I think is right.
Yeah.
I don't have to win anyone's approval.
It's that, like, writing advice you get, isn't it? Like, write this episode or write this film like it's the only one you're going to write.
Yeah.
This season of your TV show, it's the only season you're going to get.
It's going to end.
So put all your good ideas in this.
Yeah.
And then, if it's good, maybe you'll get a second season. But don't do Terminator Genesis, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a trilogy, and then the first film bombed because nothing happened. They're like, right, get rid of that shit then.
Yes.
Yeah. Put all your good ideas into this term, Biden, if you have any. Just do them now, because you might not have that long.
Yeah. But yeah, we won't have to be hearing about Donald Trump. Well, unless...
Oh, we will.
We will, because he's going to keep...
This is the post-mortem of the Trump era now.
He's thinking, isn't he? He's setting something up. His own media...
Oh, God.
He's setting his own social media company, I think.
Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that one that's been memed a bunch, where it's like they don't fact-check anything?
Oh, I don't know.
Because obviously, like, that meme has been circulated and perpetuated by people who are, again, quote-unquote, on the right side of history, in that they are left-leaning.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, oh, all the grandpas who are racist, they want to go over to this new social media platform because they don't get fact-checked.
Right.
Even though, like all of Trump's tweets from election night were deleted by Twitter.
Yeah. Because
it was all speculation. And I think a lot of it ended up being speculation.
Yeah.
Like, there was, there were places where tomfoolery did seem to be afoot. And there are places where it still feels like tomfoolery is afoot. Certainly not enough tomfoolery to get Biden out of office, I don't think. But, this is not going to be the end of Donald Trump. Mainly because Donald Trump will not make sure it's not the end of Donald Trump. Indeed.
Yeah. It's funny that there's been, I saw Armando Iannucci. He tweeted something like, after today, I'm unfollowing Donald Trump on Twitter.
Right.
And I recommend you do the same. People aren't going to do that.
No.
These people aren't going to do that.
No.
I think more people might follow him when he's out of office. But yeah, the next 4 years is going to be, let's forget about Donald Trump. Ignore him. Ignore what he's doing now.
You see this tweet? I'm retweeting this tweet of Donald Trump. Ignore this tweet.
Yeah.
Because I've literally seen shit like that.
Yeah.
Where people are like...
the cognitive dissonance of it.
Yeah, there's a guy who retweeted a politician. I can't remember exactly what it was pertaining to. But this politician was, he gave this formal apology on Twitter because he did something and then he was like, oh, that was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Please retweet my apology.
Yes.
So that people can see that I'm remorseful.
Yeah.
And then this writer or celebrity retweeted it and said, don't retweet this.
Yes.
And then someone in my friend group, on my friend list in social media, retweeted the retweet and was like, yes, I agree. Don't retweet this.
Yeah.
It's do you not see what you're doing here?
Yeah.
Do you not see the irony in what's happening?
It was weird because it was wrapped in a few layers, wasn't it? Because, the guy said, please retweet my apology.
Yeah.
And then someone had read that, assuming that it was he had embarrassingly confessed.
Yeah.
And had said, oh, please don't retweet this man. He hates it when you see
it was
what embarrassing stuff he does.
It was written he was sarcastically oh, this guy,
he hates being reminded of how, and then everyone was
reminded of this thing that he's apologizing for.
Yeah. I all completely forget, not reading that last sentence.
Yeah.
Well, at the moment, the conservative intelligentsia, such as it is, the move now seems to be, right, the New York Times, all the papers you trusted are done.
Okay.
They're not reputable anymore.
Right.
Media that produces film and television, they all have agendas. You can't, they're all morally bankrupt now, basically.
Who was the actress who posted a tweet of her holding a bloody Donald Trump head?
Oh, I have no idea.
I can't remember the name of the actress, but yeah, she tweeted a picture of herself on election night,
right,
holding this like Donald Trump head that was like coated in blood.
Right.
It's like, really? You're really just gonna put this out there?
Yeah. So the move at the moment is like, yeah, ABC, CBS, all their news channels and their entertainment channels is just propaganda.
Yeah.
So the next 4 years seems to be the push to create the alternatives. So like Ben Shapiro, his company are now also they're branching into entertainment.
Okay.
I don't know what their plan is or what that's going to look like.
That we need to send a couple of scripts over to Shapiro?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I was genuinely thinking that. Like, yeah. It would be great. Like I wouldn't want to write conservative shows because I don't even really know what that is, but just shows where none of the left bullshit mattered. It was just about the story.
The thing is, like, yeah, I'm sort of happy that like there are specific, like, oh, it's clear that you're only giving a voice to certain people, so let's create an organization over here that's giving a voice to the people that you're taking the voice away from.
Mm-hmm.
But also that is literally segregation, right? It's like the left go over here, the right go over here, never the twain shall meet. It's like
I don't think the idea is this is just for the right wing.
No. And it's probably, well, I mean, Ben Shapiro was the guy who said that if a news outlet says that they're impartial, they're being dishonest.
Yes.
Because everyone has an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how he's framing this entertainment company, whether he's saying that like, it's for right-leaning people, or it's we are going to try and cut out the bullshit.
No, I don't know, but his thing has always been, it's not like the ABC, CBS, they're all lefty, they're for lefty people. It's more just like you can't trust them.
Yeah.
And all of their shows are now infused with wokeness, crucially.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily, we're going to be doing conservative shows. It might just be, we're just going to be doing shows. It's going to be about how good they are.
Yeah.
Any wokeness. But yes, at the same time, he said, is the first to say, this is a conservative news organization.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we lie. It just means that we have a viewpoint. We have a bias, if you will, a worldview. And he said, I don't mind. There's nothing wrong with being a journalist as long as you're upfront about where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And the idea that you can be an impartial news anchor is manifestly untrue, because have you seen the so-called impartial news anchors?
Yeah.
They just talk to camera about who you need to vote for.
Yeah.
So
in this news anchor's opinion, blah, 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 blah.
But that's the thing, I would like the most successful conservative quote-unquote show is considered broadly 24, because right. Even though it's not a conservative show, it's not made by conservatives, its depiction of certain things was very just kind of raw and upfront and on the nose.
Yeah.
It's like torture was... The thing is, like, 24 came under fire because of its use of... Jack Bauer's use of torture to extract information. But then, like, the fourth season, they try and deal with that. Like, him doing that causes... There are consequences that lead to worse things down the road, that sort of thing. Same thing with Homeland. I've said it before. They kind of felt the need to apologize after a while for themselves. But yeah, honestly, if it was like... went to Ben Shapiro, and he was like, yeah, we're going to be producing entertainment now. And yeah, frankly, it's going to be with a conservative bent. That doesn't mean we're going to write shows about religious people. It's just going to try and instill common family values and that sort of... Like, all right.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I'd do that. Like, yeah, I write for a company that is, on its face, it has a conservative leaning. And you write for the one that has the radical left leaning. That's fine.
Maybe his network will bring back the traditional family sitcom.
Maybe, yeah.
It's only just died, and now it's his company will bring it back. But that seems like a fairly decent fit. Again, knowing nothing about his network, I could envision a show like that showing up in like his first, the first wave of shows. It's like, here's like a safe, comfortable family sitcom.
Well, the interesting thing is, like, Modern Family, I think, is something that could be on Shapiro's, I think. Because here's the thing, it's got a gay married couple in it, right? But the interesting thing about it is that whenever we see these shows, because they're produced by these kind of mega corporations, you never know what the guy in charge thinks about any one issue, unless he's a public figure who talks about that stuff.
Yeah.
That would be the difference, right? Is that if Daily Wire started producing TV, you would know where the CEO stands on every issue.
Yes,
because he's done his own show for
his show that is like predated the network by a significant margin.
That would be really interesting. The kind of transparency of that.
How much Ben Shapiro is out there? Like how much of his life has been televised, for lack of a better word, broadcasted would be a better word, I suppose.
Well, I think he was the youngest nationally syndicated column writer when he was in university, I think.
Okay.
16 or 17.
Right.
And then he wrote his first book when he was in university and became a bit famous after that. And I think the Piers Morgan interview was when he blew up.
Right, okay.
And he's a young guy, he's like in his 30s. So he's been around for a long, like half his life maybe.
Okay.
Has been in the public
So much Ben Shapiro.
A lot of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Ben Shapiro. You know, when he talks, there's a lot of him.
Yes.
But no, I'd be, it's like you can do the kind of show you want. Just we're not going to put up with any of the woke stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do shows about gay drug addicts. Like, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, it's entertainment.
Or if you're going to do the woke stuff, you have to justify yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have a reason. You can't just do it because it's trendy.
Yes.
You have to have something to say about it.
Yeah.
That we feel is like, oh yeah, that's an interesting angle.
Yeah.
Or that's something that I feel like needs to be said. It's not just, here's another show about the gays.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes the gays at the moment.
This is the thing though, right? It's just, the reality is, every single company that makes television does exactly that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's one of the things I hate about it the most. It's not that ideology is being perpetuated. It's that it's being done cynically. It's being done to give the appearance that we care. Like these corporations care, I mean.
Yeah. Well, the idea that the Daily Wire would start producing its own entertainment seems more insidious because it's conservative. And that somehow seems... Because they're saying they're conservative.
Yeah.
When ABC, they're impartial. CBS is impartial.
Yeah.
But there's always got to be someone who's writing the checks and signing on the dotted line.
Well, Daily Wire are being more honest about it, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Being upfront about it. Everyone works for those companies. They're just honest about their bias. That's all. So I would very happily work for... I mean, I don't know. At the minute, it's just like we're branching into entertainment. Yeah. I don't know whether that means it's going to be web, like 10-minute things.
Oh, like they're going to do... Like they're going to try and do Quibi.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I wouldn't write for it if it was trying to do Quibi. We saw how Quibi turned out.
I mean, I would. If it was like come and write for a Ben Shapiro, yeah, I would. I absolutely.
Yeah, but not
would.
if it's Quibi. What could you do if it's Quibi?
You're saying you turn it down. If Ben Shapiro's like, okay, we're doing 10-minute episode television show.
I'd say no. You're doing 60 minutes.
This thing, it's a very successful company, and I'm sure he's got a lot of people who would want to invest, but he probably doesn't have the capital to make a proper TV show.
Not on his own.
No, I mean the company.
It's about who would want to invest in it. Like he's probably accumulated a lot of... Is he part of the intellectual dark web?
Yeah, such as it is.
Yeah, he's probably got a lot of friends there that might either have capital or know people that have capital.
Yeah.
Is this an adequate segue into Jordan Peterson?
Sure. Yeah. He's back. Yeah, that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up anyway because was it him and somebody else who were trying to create an alternative to Patreon?
Oh yeah,
because obviously they abandoned Patreon a while back. Oh, who was it? Somebody got banned from Patreon for radical views that weren't in the least bit radical, or at least they weren't. Maybe not.
Sargon of Akkad.
Sargon of Akkad got banned from Patreon. Maybe not in the least. Yeah, maybe it's a bit soft to say they weren't in the least bit radical.
Well, he's not radical. He's a classical liberal and a shit poster.
Yes. Yeah. So I think they were a bit like, we're not sure if we want this. Yeah. So they got rid of him.
I think he did run as an hour review kip, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. He was in Ponty.
Yeah. We fucking missed him.
Yeah, we missed them.
Bastard. He didn't even tell us. So yeah, Patreon were like, yeah, we're all right. We don't need this. So they got rid of him. As such, Jordan Peterson and a bunch of other people left Patreon.
Yes.
And they were like, right, we're going to come up with a fairer alternative that doesn't cow to, you know, what people want or what people think or anything like that. And then obviously he had to step away for a while. I don't know how far into development it is, if it is still in development. But yeah, now that he's kind of back, I don't know whether things are gonna start picking up again.
Well, his new book is due out in March.
Okay, is that something he's been doing while he's away, or has he just been getting better?
I think he started writing it before he fell ill, and then he got to a point where he felt healthy enough to start working on it again.
I see.
So he said, like, I think the first big step in his return to health was, I can write now.
Okay.
Like, I can't go out and do much, but I can sit down and write.
Yeah.
Think and write. So yeah, his new book is due out on the 2nd of March.
Okay.
We'll be buying it.
Okay. Do we know, what is it? Is it like it's 10 more rules of life?
Yeah.
Oh, it's literally 10 more rules for life.
It's called Beyond Order 12 More Rules for Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I'll buy whatever he writes, frankly. But
don't take pills. Is that probably
probably.
probably be in there?
That, and I'm going to get The Madness of Crowds, which I'm really looking forward to reading, by Douglas Murray.
Okay.
But he's cautiously returned. You've got him trying to set up the alternate to Patreon. You've got Shapiro setting up his own entertainment network. I feel like there's a new social media website app that is like, we are not Twitter. That's their thing.
I think that might be the thing that's being memed.
Okay.
I can't remember its name, so I wouldn't be able to check. But
okay. And I feel like the replacement for like the New York Times and hard-hitting conversations, it's now podcasts.
Yeah.
Not this one.
No.
But that is the place for now. 3-4 hours, listen to two smart people work out their differences.
Yeah, it's definitely not us.
No, it's not us.
No,
it's not. Love to be invited on Eric. But probably not quite up to
you might have to train us up before we
not quite intellectually prepared for that.
Is he the one who had Riley Reid?
Yes.
Well, if you could cope with us.
Yeah.
If you've had Riley Reid on.
True, yeah. Those I would like to think we're more intellectually there than Riley Reid.
The problem is
she's successful, is the thing.
Well, she's successful and she's got a completely different life experience. That
somewhat,
that would be interesting. There's a collision of worlds there that's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know if the execution of that podcast capitalizes on how interesting the difference was.
No,
because one is clearly operating on a much higher level than the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose that would be our downfall, is that we're not on his level, but we're also not different enough that it would be an interesting enough conversation or an interesting enough spectacle, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like...
fucking pitching ourselves for Eric Weinstein's podcast.
I know. But he could talk... Let's say when Justin Bieber first became a megastar, he would be someone good to talk to on the podcast, because even though he's not going to offer anything particularly intelligent, just like, oh, this is what this guy sounds like in a conversation. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the interesting thing about Riley Reid was, she's not going to bring her A game, mentally, but she is a very successful porn star.
Yeah.
And what does that sound like in a conversation with Eric Weinstein?
Yes.
Turns out, not much of anything.
There must be at least one smart porn star, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, there is one. Mercedes something?
Oh, is she the one who's like, she does campaigning for something?
Yeah.
Or like a lot of charity work.
I remember listening to her and she was fairly erudite.
Yeah. Is she the one who's like campaigning for... She's campaigning for women's rights, but that's landed her in hot water with the left.
Trans rights, is it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I think she's feminist, but she's the wrong type of feminist.
She's an old school feminist, is she?
I think so. I could be completely wrong about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So welcome back, Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
Look forward to seeing what you do next.
Yeah.
How much do you think we need him now?
Oh.
Because we've needed him for a while, but now that Trump's on his way out, Biden's coming in, things might calm down. We've no idea. But if things are on a course of calming down a bit, like, is Jordan Peterson as necessary as he has previously been?
Well, the left is going to remain the left.
It's going to remain the left, yeah.
So,
but will we just be in a holding pattern where, like, white men don't become any more evil than they already are? Like, you're evil, but you're just
but I think the wokeness thing is not going to die. Realistically, it's not going to die down. I think that like when after George Floyd got killed, and within a week they were taking down blackface episodes.
Yeah,
as if that wasn't a non sequitur. It's like all the activists are just shoving everything they can while there's a window of opportunity through their ideological, from the ideological trough. And I feel like with Biden in power, it's going to be 4 years of that.
Yeah.
Of, what can we do now? What can we get through that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, he is going to be necessary. And I sort of, when he was at his peak, 2017, 2018 of fame, and I was like listening to him a lot, I half joked saying he's basically the Jesus of the modern age. Right. And I just wonder what his crucifixion is going to look like, because no one like that they're not gonna let him live. Interpret that how you will.
Yeah.
And then that he had that horrible health crisis. Was oh god, this is it. This is what it was. But he's back. So like, touch wood.
Second coming.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
But Jesus never. Oh my, he's better than Jesus. Because Jesus never came back.
You hear it here first, folks. Jordan Peterson is better than Jesus.
I'm very happy he's back. I've seen him he was on his daughter's podcast, just those two. And then one of the more recent episodes, he's kind of interviewing Coleman Hughes, and he seems there again.
Okay.
So, yes.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay. All right. Well, I just want to quickly mention the film.
Go on.
Not really do a full review. It's called Uncle Frank.
Okay.
So it's a film by Alan Ball, who wrote American Beauty and created 6 Feet Under.
Mm-hmm.
He directed this film as well. It's set in the 60s, and it's about a young girl from a southern family, very traditional southern family, who goes off to college in New York, where her uncle is a lecturer, played by Paul Bettany. And she finds out that he's gay, and he has a long-term boyfriend. And then the patriarch of the family dies, Paul Bettany's father, and he and his niece drive across America to go home for the funeral, and the boyfriend tags along, a half because like he wants to support Paul Bettany and be there for him, and half because he arrogantly wants to meet the family,
right?
Like insisting on meeting the family, but mainly to be there for his boyfriend. And it's a really kind of light but really well written little drama. It's reminded me of Green Book. It's the gay Green Book.
Okay.
What Green Book was to race, this is to homosexuality.
Yeah, you've even kind of got the road trip element in there.
Even got the road trip element, and the 60s, like it's,
Okay.
Queen Book.
Queen Book. Okay.
But no, it was just a really nice little film, and like an old-fashioned Oscar film in a way. It won't do anything at the awards, I don't think. It's quite small, but where it was like, it's set in a time where there was a lot of intolerance, and then he comes out, and the family are mostly accepting at the end, with an exception, But yeah, I recommend it. It was just it was the right type of, in the way that we liked Green Book for its kind of simplicity in a way. This is that version for gay.
Okay.
And like a kind of film, can't remember if there's anything too profane in it, but it's the kind of film you could show in RE.
Okay.
Well, I suppose they wouldn't do it in RE, certainly, but in like a social studies class.
Yeah, family friendly.
Yeah,
like it's the family friendly gay intolerance film.
Yeah. I am trying to think if there's anything really dark in it. I mean, thematically it's dark. Like his father hates him, and when they get home, and his father's the only one that knew he was gay and kind of disowned him for it. And when they're at the reading of the father's will, he says, I bequeath this to my daughter, this to my wife. The only thing I leave my son is the like knowledge that I despise him and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And then he tries to kill himself. Yeah. So there is dark stuff in there, but yeah, because from Alan Ball as well, he like 6 Feet Under. There was a gay couple in that. I think widely credited as like the first one of the first gay couples on TV that sort of made people comfortable with the idea of gay couples. As fractious as that relationship is in 6 Feet Under.
Well, I think it's its authenticity that sells it to people.
Yes.
Isn't it? It's a real relationship.
Very real. Yeah. And the Paul Bettany's lover in this film is played by Alan Ball's real life, I guess, husband or maybe just lover.
Okay.
Who plays a role in 6 Feet Under as a very boisterous art lecturer.
Yeah, I remember him. I remember.
What was his name?
I can't. I think I purposely phased him out.
Oh yeah, he's so annoying.
Yeah.
And I assumed, that's him.
Yeah.
But he's so different in this film.
Okay.
He's like a really nice, beardy, like older man.
Okay.
Maybe he's just grown up or something. But, yeah, no, I would recommend it. Uncle Frank.
Okay.
I think it's on Amazon.
So it's sort of a comfortable,
but not, it's got bite where it needs to.
Yeah.
But a nice little short, well-written film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose that's all you can ask for, really.
Indeed.
Isn't it?
Do you want to review your next film?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I had another review to do. Are you familiar with the film Fatman, Sam?
I'm familiar with the poster.
If you say anything along the lines of, oh, did you look in a mirror?
Right.
I'll come over there and sit on you.
Okay. You just dissed yourself there.
Yeah, because I knew you would use that as an opportunity. You would use my saying, don't take this as an opportunity, as an opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
So I did the thing where it's like, I made fun of myself first.
Okay.
Don't you feel stupid?
Don't make this any heavier than it has to be.
He's done it anyway. You fucking hearing this, audience?
Okay, no, the film Fatman, I am familiar with the poster, and I am familiar with a very surface level premise.
Okay. Well, it's a very surface level premise anyway, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
You'll judge now whether I use that correctly. The film is it's a thriller.
Okay.
I think it's a thriller.
Did it thrill you?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
It stars Mel Gibson.
Yes.
And Walton Goggins.
Yeah, on the poster, Mel Gibson looks like Michael Keaton.
He does a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a bit. Well, Mel Gibson's got a hefty beard.
Yes.
I think he does generally now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's got a hefty beard because...
the post-Jews suck phase of Gibson's career.
A hefty beard because he is playing Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
And Walton Goggins is playing an assassin who was hired by a kid to kill Santa Claus.
Right.
That is the premise of the film.
High concept.
There's this kid. His name is said in the film. I can't remember what his name is, but he's in Walton Goggins' phone as Little Shit.
Right.
So we'll call him Little Shit.
Okay.
Little Shit is this kid who's like... he's a prick, basically. Like, he has to win at everything.
Right.
And he's like... he lives in this like mansion with his dying grandmother, and his father's like filthy rich, but like we never see him because he's always away eloping with women. And he has like a staff. This kid has a staff who do all of his chores for him and everything. And he ends up on Santa's naughty list, so he gets a lump of coal in his stocking.
Yeah.
And Walton Goggins is this assassin who does odd jobs for this kid anyway.
Okay.
One of the first scenes in the film, the very first time you see the kid, he's got like 5 ribbons on him that say like best in show.
Right.
Then we see him at a science fair where he has this like very elaborate what are they called? Diorama, yeah. I didn't even have to, you just knew.
Yeah.
The beauty of chemistry.
Beauty of 10 years.
Yeah, he has this very intricate diorama explaining this very intricate concept. And then there's this girl who has like a much more simpler thing, and she wins best in show at the science fair. So he hires Walton Goggins to kidnap this girl, bring him into his basement where he threatens to like electrocute her.
Okay.
And like torture her with like a car battery.
Right.
It's like, you're going to admit that you cheated.
Right.
And you're going to give me that best in show badge. And she's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins drives her back to her house, and he's like, if you breathe a word of this to anyone, I'll kill your mother. I'll kill your father. Have you got a dog? Yeah. I'll kill your dog too.
Okay. Well, I kind of like it already.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, all right, again. Like it's the same with Matt Berry. Like, as soon as I found Matt Berry's in SpongeBob, I'm like, right, I'm in. Like, as soon as that scene happened, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm completely with this.
Yeah.
You find out that Walton Goggins has this sort of obsession with Santa Claus, in the sense that he has this sort of side hobby. It's not a side business. He has this hobby where he buys people's old Christmas presents from them.
Okay.
So there's like a guy who comes in with a baseball bat, and Walton Goggins is like, "You got this baseball bat off Santa Claus?" And he's like, "Yes, I did, because I wanted to be like an all-star baseball player."
Yeah.
And Walton Goggins is like, "Are you a baseball player?" And the guy's like, "Well, no."
Right.
It's like, "Oh, okay." And then he buys the bat off him, and he takes it into the back, and you see all these presents that he's clearly bought off people.
Okay.
So the kid is like, "I want you to kill Santa Claus," and Walton Goggins is like, "Yeah, all right."
Right.
And then that's the rest of the film, is Walton Goggins is trying to hunt down Santa Claus.
Okay.
As Santa Claus. Right, so yeah, that's happening. Meanwhile, Santa Claus is like doing the Christmas stuff, but he's like jaded and exhausted, and he's like, "Oh, God, no one believes anymore. What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
We're like dirt poor. We have no money." And then he's approached by the US military, where they offer him an out by subcontracting the development of their weapons to his elves.
Okay.
So Santa initially refuses the deal, and then realizing that he has literally no money left, he accepts the deal from the US government.
Right.
So his Santa's workshop becomes like a base for the US military, where they're building weapons.
Okay.
And that's like that's what's going on with Santa.
Yeah.
As this is happening, he's like losing all faith in Christmas.
Right.
And that's sort of the film. It's like half of it is kind of Walton Goggins doing his own thing, tracking down Santa, and being like a menacing assassin.
Yeah.
And then it's Mel Gibson being all jaded and shit.
Okay.
While the US military are kind of there.
Okay. Well, okay. So it's like an anti-Christmas film, almost.
Well, it's come out at a weird time. Like, I saw it a couple of weeks ago. So it came out, I think, in the middle of November. So it's in that weird hinterland between Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
Where it's like too early to be a Christmas film.
The hinterland.
Hinterland, yeah. I don't think it was marketed as a Christmas film. It's very un-Christmassy.
Okay.
There's, like, he's never in the traditional Santa outfit in the entire film. The elves, I think they're basically dressed up in traditional worker uniforms. They're not dressed up like elves at all. I don't think there's a single, like, strand of tinsel. Like, the North Pole is basically just this cabin in the snow.
Right.
It's so, like, un-Christmassy in its presentation.
Like analog Christmas.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that's part of if that's done by design.
Okay.
Because, like, this film, the way I've described it, I imagine that you would imagine it's a comedy, right?
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. I don't think it is.
It's not a comedy.
No. Well, I didn't laugh.
Okay.
At any
point. How can that premise not be a comedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the question. I do genuinely wonder if they filmed it as like a straightforward thriller and then kind of realized after the fact that it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even then, like, they haven't really done anything. It's not like Suicide Squad, where it was clearly like messed around with in post to make it a different film. It feels like this is the film that they intended to make. It just doesn't capitalize on its concept whatsoever.
The thing is, not only is it inherently absurd, it's stoner absurd. It's oh man, what if it was like a movie where like Father Christmas would, you know what I mean? It's that kind of easy, it's funny premise.
It doesn't even have that stoner energy to it.
Yeah.
Like, it has the energy of a straight-to-DVD like action film.
Where it's straight to VOD, right?
Straight to VOD, my mistake.
No, that is what it is, right?
Oh, it might be, I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah,
straight to DVD.
It's clearly shot on a low budget. There's no, like, set pieces in the entire film. Like, I think literally the only action scene is the final shootout. And even then, there's no real memorable action within that scene. It's filmed in like one or two locations. The first half of the film, you only ever see Santa Claus and his wife.
Yeah.
You never see the sleigh, you never see the reindeer, you never see the elves. It's all talked about. But it's literally like Santa's like, oh, I'm going to go out for my Christmas Eve deliveries now.
Right.
And then the next scene is he just gets back into bed and he's like, oh, I did it. Christmas happened.
Are they trying to do a thing there? So it's like the unseen scenes of Christmas.
But halfway through, you see it all.
Right.
So all of a sudden, you see the reindeer shack where the reindeers are. You see the elves. Like all of a sudden, halfway through, Santa's like head of operations becomes like a secondary character.
Okay.
Or he becomes like a supporting character. He's a weird one. Like the side characters in this film have basically nothing to do.
Right.
But Seven, who's the name of the head elf, like his main function in the film basically seems to be to tell the military how the North Pole operates.
Right.
Because the military, the military guy is like, "Oh, your name is Seven," and he goes, "Yes, we identify each other by numbers. It's more efficient that way."
Right.
And he's like, "Okay, what happened to 1 through 6?" He goes, "Oh, we don't reuse numbers. That would be disrespectful."
Right.
And that seems to be his, like, that's what he does.
He's exposition.
Yeah, but exposition to no end, because none of this affects the film. It's all just
elf position.
Elf position. It's all just like detail.
Yeah.
To no end. Because it doesn't influence the story or it doesn't develop character. It's not like, oh, the military and Seven develop a bond because they both have a hard-on for like efficiency and workmanship. There's nothing like that. The military just ask a question. He's like, "Oh, this is the answer," and they go, "Oh, all right."
Okay. Is it goes without saying this is not a film for children?
No, it's not.
Then how do you do a film about Father Christmas for adults that isn't Bad Santa or the action variant thereof?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe this was a genuine attempt to do that. Because like I said, he's never in the Santa getup.
Yeah.
He's just Mel Gibson with a gun.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the idea. Is he's just going to be this like drunk, jaded old man.
Well, it's schlock, isn't it? It's a proper B movie.
But it's
premise.
not even. There's not even enough schlock in it to be schlock.
Yeah, it's the impression I'm getting of it is that it has on the page the trappings of like an exploitation film.
Yeah.
Over the top city premise, kind of hard boiled dialogue. Absurd.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm just picturing it. I've seen nothing of this film. It just looks kind of neutral.
Yeah.
And not much is happening.
That's the thing. I'm wondering if maybe the absurdity of what's happening is supposed to carry the film. Like in that first scene.
The fact they're taking it so dryly.
Yeah, like I said, in that first scene where the guy where the young kid is like sparking the car battery as this little girl is looking terrified and Walter Goggins is standing behind her.
Yeah.
Like this torture scene is about to take place.
Yeah.
That the like, oh my god, they're actually doing this.
Yeah.
That's supposed to carry the film. But the depiction of events is so dry. It's so without style and so like ordinary that I don't know. I feel like if these events were going to unfold, this is how they would unfold.
Okay.
Like there's no absurdity to it. The film doesn't present itself absurdly.
Right.
So, because like one of the ways that Walton Goggins tracks down Santa Claus is he like he asks this postman, like, "Oh, where do you deliver Santa's letters to?" And he goes, "Oh, I deliver them to this guy." So he goes to that guy. He's like, "What happens to the Santa letters?" The guy's like, "Oh, we burn them." He's like, "Don't fucking lie to me."
Right.
He's like, "Oh, okay, we send them to the North Pole.
Right.
We send them to this P.O. box in, somewhere up north. That's it, I swear." And then he tracks them to that post office and then waits outside for Santa to turn up.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's how it would happen.
Yeah.
It's such a boring, ordinary way of doing that. It's like, yeah, what's funny about this?
So there are no jokes.
No, I think there are moments where there's supposed to be jokes.
Okay.
Like one of the Secret Service guys is standing next to a reindeer and it butts its head at the guy.
Right.
And Mel Gibson is like, "Oh, you're lucky that wasn't Blitzen. He would have bit your nuts off."
So what's the interaction between Goggins and Gibson like then?
Well, they only meet up at the finale.
Heat. It's like heat.
It's like heat. Yeah. No, they meet up at one point in the middle. Don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, this film doesn't even have that.
Okay.
It's literally like Goggins is over here, Gibson is over here, and the two don't meet at all.
Never the twain.
Never the twain. Their stories don't even affect each other.
Right.
It really felt like that's where the film was going. Because Santa has lost his faith in Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But the film does this. I suppose the one interesting aspect of this film is they draw a connection between the gifts that Santa gives children when they're young and the professions that they grow up to undertake.
Right.
So, Gibson is in his shack punching like a punching bag, getting all that energy out.
Right.
And then his wife puts paper files on his desk and then leaves. And he looks through those files and there's a picture of a kid who has like a toy plastic oven, and then a picture of him grown up and he's like a sous chef. And there's another one where there's like a girl has a fire truck and she grew up to be a fire person. Fighter, yes. Well, I was going to say fireman. I was like, I can't say fireman because she's not.
You don't get female firefighters. That's a myth. I believe in Father Christmas before I believe in that.
Yeah, so that's an interesting little thing that the film does. Like at the very beginning with the baseball bat. Walton Goggins is like, you got this baseball bat from Santa, but you didn't grow up to be a baseball player, did you?
What mode is Goggins in this film?
Well, he's not Shane.
No, but is he...
I don't, from what I've seen of... Is it Rectify he's in? Or Rectify?
Justify.
Yeah, from what I've seen of that, he's not that either.
No, okay. Is he serious, though?
I think he's like... Did you see Tomb Raider?
No.
Did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes.
I think he's that.
Okay.
Although, actually, he might be crazier in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's very, like...
He's just in it, is he?
Yeah, he's just kind of in it. Like, he shows emotion when he confronts Santa Claus. And there's, like, one scene where... Like, he has a pet hamster.
Yeah.
Like, nothing becomes of it. It's just, like, a character quirk.
Yeah.
But he goes to a pet shop to buy food for the hamster. And the woman's like, I'm very good at knowing what kind of animal person a person is. And you're a snake person, aren't you? And he goes, no, I have a hamster. He's like, no, you like snakes. He goes, snakes eat hamsters. Right. Like, no, you like a snake. See this snake that I have? You like this snake. And he goes, you remind me a lot of my mother. She didn't know when to shut the fuck up either.
Okay.
And, like, that's as thing as Goggins gets.
The thing, really. Walton Goggins, he's got to be up there with the most callously underused actors working today. Oh, but what I mean by that is, great in The Shield.
Yes.
Great in Justified.
Yes.
Like, Emmy nominated and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's been...
like, he hasn't had his chance.
Yeah, he's not underrated. Yeah. Right? And he's in The Hateful Eight, and he's pretty much the best thing about The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
And he's broken into mainstream cinema by playing villains in studio films, but never good ones. He's never had his thing. As great as Shane is, and as great as... He's even more of an entity in Justified. It's sort of like a two-hander, and he's one of them. He's never had his leading thing, you know?
Is he a leading man, though?
Well, the thing is, he's branched into comedy, right? So he's in that Danny McBride comedy, and now he's the lead in a fairly asinine, middle-of-the-road sitcom called The Unicorn.
Okay.
Where he plays like a dad who's recently widowed and has to raise his kids on his own.
Okay.
It's a heartwarming family comedy sort of thing.
Right.
But it's like, and he's good. He's not bad. He's a fairly decent comedy actor, but it's not what he should be doing. Remember, the show Rectify? We haven't watched it yet, but that role was written for him, but he couldn't do it, I think, because of Justified.
Okay.
It's like, that would have been his role.
Yeah.
You know? And I want that for Walton Goggins, because I love Walton Goggins in everything, and he's brilliant.
Okay.
But I'm not going to watch Fatman, because it sounds like I would be disappointed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, so this thing about the film is drawing a parallel between the presents they get when they're young and the professions they undertake when they're older. You find out at the very end, because Walton Goggins is holding onto this police car that he seems to like cherish,
right?
And you find out that was the only gift Santa ever gave him,
right? He's a cunt as a kid, was he?
Well, Santa clearly didn't watch The Shield.
Yes.
I think Shane is like, we're much safer with Walton Goggins as an assassin as we are with him as a cop.
Oh yeah.
If you've seen The Shield. But yeah, that seems like that's one of those things you put in a film. Basically, the direction I thought it was going was like Walton Goggins would confront Santa. When I found out that police car was the only gift Santa ever gave him, I was like, oh, okay, the point is going to be Goggins is going to attempt to kill Santa. Santa will prevail. And the lesson that Santa will take away from this is, oh, I do need to sort of rekindle my faith in Christmas.
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly important that I keep children on the right track.
Yeah.
Like Walton Goggins, I did not...
Is he the villain then?
Goggins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, I've been thinking about it completely the wrong way then.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, the kid that he's working for is a cunt. Like, straight up a cunt. We don't like him.
So Santa is the main character?
I think it's kind of a two-hander.
Okay, see, I envisaged it as we were following Goggins, trying to hunt down Santa, thinking Santa's like a bastard.
Oh, right.
And Goggins is like Yeah, it's like a dark comedy premise, but we're with him as he tracks him down.
No. Yeah, Goggins is straight up the villain. There's no ambiguity.
He's Shiger.
Yeah.
Trying to hunt down Josh Brolin. Okay.
Yeah, there's no ambiguity about that.
I see. Okay. In that case, I have no idea. Because I thought the ending would be something like he tracks him down and like the fact that someone cares enough to try and kill him makes Santa like re-believe in himself.
Yeah.
Oh, I have power. I do matter.
But the commonality between both of our theories there is that through Walton Goggins' actions, Santa rediscovers the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
And that was my thing, is that like, I need to like, whether it was a case of, the naughty kids need attention as well, otherwise they'll just fly off the rails if we leave them unattended, or you need to preserve the good within kids because that's something that pays off later in life. In both cases, Goggins being here and doing what he's doing is proof to Santa.
It matters. There are consequences.
There are consequences to my actions. But Goggins has no influence over Gibson's rediscovery of the Christmas spirit.
Right.
That scene I alluded to, where his wife puts down photographs of the kids.
Yeah.
That's what rekindles Santa's spirit.
Right.
He like brings the files back into his wife and he goes, thanks, I needed that.
Right.
And he believes in Christmas again.
Right.
So when Goggins shows up, he's just kind of a nuisance. Because Santa is like, well, you're not the first person who came to kill me, you idiot.
Yeah.
They do like a thing where like he shoots Santa in the head. So you think, oh, Santa's dead now. But then Walton Goggins gets killed and Santa survives.
Yeah. How is he killed?
Walton Goggins, I think he's shot not point blank, but he's shot by Santa's wife.
Right.
With a shotgun.
Okay.
And then the ending is they go to the kid's house, because the kid's not in most of the film.
Yeah.
I thought he would be the main character, but he's barely in it.
Right.
They go to the kid's house, where the kid he's been stealing like unwritten checks from his grandmother, his sick grandmother, has been cashing them in his grandmother's name.
Right.
The grandmother has found out about this, but doesn't know it's him.
Yeah.
So he's planning to basically put like overdose his grandmother on pills.
Yeah.
So she'll die. And then Santa like bursts in with like an eye missing and basically is like, if you fucking send anyone to kill me again, I'll fucking kill you. And the kid's like, yeah, all right, I won't do that again, Santa.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the film.
Okay.
Like the final scene is the elves, because Walton Goggins blew up the warehouse and killed all the military. And it's just the elves rebuilding Santa's workshop.
That's because I assumed that the whole thing of the military teaming up with Father Christmas was just a conceit, so that when you had the final showdown, you'd have a warehouse full of guns and elves using the guns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, Walton Goggins just kills all of the military
in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Why are you setting up? That's like a billion Chekhov's guns.
Yeah.
Something's got to be fired. Yeah.
And like, you'd think like, okay, Walton Goggins is like, he's a trained assassin and he's clearly capable. Like the film has done nothing to show us that he's capable, but the film has assured us that he's capable. So surely like the final act is Walton Goggins infiltrating the military that are within Santa's workshop. Like he dresses up as military guys and he tries to get close to Santa.
Yeah.
Maybe he like has a conversation with Santa's head elf and feels kind of remorseful.
Yeah.
But through that he finds out that like, you know, Santa's actually not a bad guy, so he's conflicted, but he still has to carry out his mission. No, he just goes into the workshop, kills off the military one by one.
Yeah.
Then like an elf catches him. And the elf is like, are you with the military? And Walton Goggins goes, yes, I am.
Right.
And the elf just immediately doesn't believe him. So he just blows up the warehouse.
Right.
There is no third act. The third act is just Walton Goggins going bang, 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 bang. Yeah. Fuck you, Santa. They have a bit of a fight. And then it's over.
So when he's killing all the military people, is it presented in like a wacky or goofy way?
No.
He's just killing people.
No.
It's taken very seriously.
It's very typical like straight to video action.
Okay.
Where it's like a mid-shot of Walton Goggins shooting a gun, cut to someone being shot.
Yeah.
There's no choreography whatsoever. It's just someone standing there with a gun.
Okay.
As things happen.
What have the reviews been like for this?
Do you know what? I genuinely haven't checked the reviews.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No. Yeah, massive disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, because even now I'm like, I might watch it just because it's Walton Goggins, really. But
yeah,
I'm not expecting much. But
well, nothing happens.
Yeah,
genuinely, I don't think there's anything. Yeah,
well, that's a shame. I guess we'll have to just stick to not Kindergarten Cop, Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. Yeah, we'll just have to rewatch Jingle All the Way again.
We should do that actually.
Yeah, I want to.
Okay, you've been thinking about that for a while.
Well, I bought it on DVD.
Oh, did you?
Okay. Last year, and now's the time where we can watch it again.
Jingle All the Way, Die Hard, obviously. Mm. Home Alone, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I wasn't as enthused on Home Alone as I've been with other ones. Do you know, BBC, right? They've just announced their, Christmas schedule.
Mm.
I think on Christmas Eve, right, they're showing Kung Fu Panda.
Right.
Followed by Kung Fu Panda Holiday, which I think is like a spin-off.
Yeah.
And then Kung Fu Panda 3.
Right. Not 2.
No Kung Fu Panda 2.
Okay.
And then Boxing Day, they're showing Madagascar 2. And that's it. That's the only Madagascar they're showing.
What is the Christmas television this year?
Oh, it's literally that. It's literally just filmed. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is on Christmas Day or something.
Right. We got the Doctor Who New Year special.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, there's always the big fat quiz, which I enjoy.
Okay.
Well, I hope, anyway. I haven't done anything yet, but would I like to use back on Christmas Eve?
Okay. I think there's a strictly crumb dancing. strictly crumb dancing.
Just biscuits dancing.
I think there's a strictly special. There usually is.
Shaft Cake trying to get in. There's only biscuits here, so.
I think Question of Sport, maybe?
Oh, they're doing a thing, are they?
Maybe, I don't know.
Shit, basically.
Yeah, just the usual, Stickman's on again.
Mm.
You know, it's like the Gruffalo where they made it one year for Christmas. It's like, oh, that's just something we can trot out literally every year. So Stickman's back. I mean, does anyone watch TV?
Netflix, isn't it?
Over Christmas?
I don't know.
Is that still a thing? Because obviously Doctor Who was the big draw for a lot of families, I think. You sit down with your family, you watch the Doctor Who Christmas special at 5:30.
Right.
I think the Voyage of the Damned is still the highest. It's got 14 million views. It's still the best.
Is that the Kylie one?
Yeah, the Kylie one. Yeah. Although that was probably because Kylie Minogue was in it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if do families do that anymore? Do they we're going to sit down at this time and watch this show on Christmas Day?
I don't know. I mean, it's depressing if they don't. Because again, there's just something reassuring about Christmas television, isn't there?
Yeah.
Even if it's the same old crap like the Vicar of Dibley and...
Which they're doing, right?
Are they?
Yeah, they're doing a Vicar of Dibley Zoom special.
That's happened, isn't it?
Oh, it's happened?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that happened already.
Yeah.
It's just her.
Yeah, well, she's the only one left. They're all dead now.
No, they're not. That's the thing. Most of them are still alive. Thing's dead. Trigger, he's dead.
Yeah.
And Alice died last year or this year. I think the rest are alive.
The father... not Hugo.
David.
David, surely he's dead.
He's still kicking? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he
can't be still alive.
Yeah, he's still Gary Waldhorn.
You fucking with me.
No. I think even Frank is still alive.
No, I don't believe that.
I think Frank died last year.
Okay.
Because he was in Hail Caesar, weirdly enough.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What about,
Jim.
No.
Yeah, Jim, yes. I think he's still going.
Nah, I don't believe that. He looked like he was at death's door when the show was on.
I know. David is, Hugo is still.
Yeah, Hugo's. Yeah. I think Hugo was in it. It was.
Was he?
Yeah,
okay.
It was the Vicar of Dibley and Hugo.
Okay.
Dawn French. I couldn't remember her name.
Dawn French. Yeah. Okay, so that's Fatman.
That's Fatman. I mean, if you have a perverse curiosity,
I do a bit.
Yeah, but you won't like it.
Nah.
And it's such a shame. I think I was trying to think of that. What's the film before this where I was the most disappointed?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe David Made a Maze. Not David. Dave Made a Maze.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, for anyone who doesn't know, that was a film with a premise. It was, this guy had built this cardboard maze in his room.
Yes.
So the whole film was sort of taking place within this cardboard maze. And there were things living within the maze that were sort of coming to life.
Yeah.
I think the iconic image of that film is this really buff man with a cardboard minotaur head.
Right.
And that seemed like a brilliant, oh my god, why isn't a lower budget film thought of this before?
Yeah.
It's sort of perfect lower budget material because it's just pure creativity.
Mm-hmm.
and it was crap.
It's like that. Was it called Welcome to Marwen, the Steve Carell film that was like all model figures in a town?
Yeah, I never saw that, but I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, "Oh, that looks really good," and then I never thought of it again.
It didn't. It wasn't. It wasn't that good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. The last film I was really disappointed. I tend not to be anymore. It's you could read that whatever way you want.
When I say the film I was most disappointed by, I mean that in the sense of, like, I had no expectations for Dave Made a Maze, and then I saw the premise, and I was immediately like, oh, that's really cool, I want to see that. Same with Fatman. It's not like, The Dark Knight Rises or The World's End, where I had all of these expectations building up to it. It just suddenly came into my life one day. I was like, oh, I really want to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is for me.
Yeah.
Anything that I look forward to, like, I know it's going to come, then it's announced.
Yeah.
And then I follow its news, and then always a disappointment.
Yeah.
Every single time. In recent years, with films like Whiplash and Spotlight, I became conscious of them, like, near to the time when they were coming out. Like, ooh, what are these films? Didn't know much about them. Maybe saw a trailer, then saw the film. And with Parasite, I saw nothing about Parasite. Didn't watch any trailers for it.
Yeah.
I just had a sense that I was going to love it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I hadn't built it up. I had no idea what it was. It was just this thing that was out there. And then it sort of bobbed into my consciousness.
Yeah.
And I just knew that I was going to... I knew I was going to love Spotlight. I just knew I was going to love it. This is kind of weird. I guess you just watch enough, you sort of know...
Yeah, you know what you like.
You know... But even like, Not even in like, oh, I like crime dramas, therefore I'm going to like The Departed. Just in a vibe kind of way,
Yeah, yeah.
So I tend not to be disappointed by... I've learnt my lesson now. I am really looking forward to the Batman.
Yes. So that's going to be a problem if that isn't good.
And I have been following that, like, everything about it.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, that'd be... I mean, the last thing like that was The Dark Knight Rises, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
So
at the time, though, it wasn't the worst thing.
At the time, really liked it. And then it fell apart quite quickly. Yeah. On that, I suppose we're done, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. See you next time.
Yes, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We really need to work on our endings.
We do.